and my mind is professional.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Great to have another week of fabulous Legacy play. We're going to be showing off a little bit different side of Legacy this time. This time, we're not going to have Delver, Storm, or any of those other things.
I think there's only one deck that's getting back-to-back, and that's Taxes.
Yeah, it's Taxes. I believe there's a few different things
Yeah.
on this list. But we're going to be seeing a little bit more of the Chalice decks that flow around the format, as well as we're going to have a Miracles player. That's always a fun deck to watch.
So we're putting the Chalice decks in the week that doesn't have the decks that the Chalice decks beat?
Well, yeah. It's like, to be fair, there's a point where watching a Chalice deck playing against, like, let's just say Storm gets a little dull.
Oh, no, absolutely.
It's just them going, all right, can I draw my Cabal Writs and my Infernal Tutors to win the game? Nope, I can't. I lost.
I mean, in all honesty, watching the Stompy style decks playing against the other decks is going to be something better because those are the matchups where you actually need to know how the different decks play.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
And we will get to see some of the power of Chalice. I believe that one of the Chalice decks is going against Elves, and yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Chalice does do a lot of work there, as a lot of the Elves do cost 1 mana.
There are a total of 2 Chalice decks, and we get to see both of them play against each other, so...
In that matchup, I believe that Alex should be heavily favored, and by that I mean Alex is heavily favored because he's playing the deck with Blood Moon and other things, and like Ensnaring Bridge. Yeah, 8 Blood Moons.
Yeah.
He has a lot of Blood Moons. He has a lot of things.
But let's go ahead and move then to specifically our matchups here. So round 1, we have Death and Taxes versus Elves. The monocolored, or mostly monocolored, creature decks up against each other.
Yep. The main thing I noticed that's a difference here is that this version of Taxes is running 1 Vren's Wingmare, which is essentially a Thalia that costs 1 more mana, has flying instead of First Strike, and it's not a legendary feature, but that doesn't matter.
You can't protect it with your Crocus.
Yep. And aside from that, nothing real exciting. This, however, is a deck that I enjoy watching a lot.
Well, I really enjoy watching Elves. It has these extremely explosive draws, but it also can just play this very grindy game plan.
Yeah.
And one thing that's going to be very obvious here is this matchup is very, 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 very much on the swing of how many copies of Stoneforge Mystic does the Death and Taxes player draw to find the Jitty.
To be fair, this is the deck that preys on Taxes harder than any other.
Oh, absolutely.
Even very good Taxes players don't want to play against this matchup just because it's kind of abysmal. They go wide. They don't really have things that get taxed too hard by you. Like, they run a very small amount of non-creature spells, and they are not short on mana to get through your Thalia attacks.
No, not at all. But like I said, primarily the main card that Harley's going to be wanting to find in this matchup is going to be exactly Umezawa's Jitte.
Umezawa's Jitte is the best card in the matchup, and you do want some amount of Swords, Plowshares, or something to interact with them. A Timely Wasteland can do something in this matchup, but a lot of times they're going to play the Gaia's Cradle and get so much advantage on it that it doesn't even matter that you Wasteland at them. They're just going to be so far ahead of you.
All right, then. So I think we can go ahead and move down to the match if you want to go ahead and give them the go-ahead.
You guys are good to go whenever.
All right. And so you're on the camp, then, that Elves is probably going to win this matchup.
I'm pretty strongly on this camp. Also, did they hear me?
I don't know if they have the headphones on.
Do you have the headphones on? No, they don't. They do not have the headphones on, so randomly for the people at home that are listening right now, we have a thing hooked up so when they're wearing the headphones they can't hear us, but if we talking to this microphone they can hear us. They didn't have the headphones on, so I was just talking to this microphone real quiet. No one's listening.
Oh, yeah.
You guys were listening. It was a great time.
All right. So, what do you think, like, say, the percentages on this would be, then? If you were to give it a percentage.
If I were to give it a percentage, probably like a 65-35 in favor of Elves.
That's not actually terrible.
It's not terrible, but then again, like, even the swingier matchups in Legacy can be aren't as swingy as in other formats. There are some that are super swingy, like Lands versus Storm, but even there, Storm can still pick up a decent percentage of the wins.
Connor here taking a mulligan for his opening hand. Harley here looks like he was happy with his, but there is absolutely no way that we can get a look at anything other than that Aether Vial he's holding to the front.
To be fair, that's all we really need to know. He has an Aether Vial hand.
All right, it looks like Rashad imports some Wastelands in the back, Mother of Runes in the mix. So this hand is hinging pretty heavily on this Aether Vial, but Aether Vial is the main way that his deck's going to be able to win. And from Connor's side, we see Land, Dryad Arbor, along with Crater of Behemoth, Natural Order, Heritage Druid, and an Elvish Visionary.
So this hand's awkward. He's keeping it because it's better than a Mold of 5 on average. But there's just so many things that are awkward about this. The fact that his turn 2, he either has to skip turn 1 or turn 2, depending on what he wants to do. He's choosing to skip turn 1, which I like here.
And he did pick up a Green Sun Zenith that he described at the top there, and he was on the draw for this game. So he will be able to pick up the second copy of Dryad Arbor from his Green Sun Zenith if he would like to get himself a little bit ahead on mana.
Yeah.
Harley here just going to go ahead and port down the Dryad Arbor, effectively having the same as a Wasteland would, but it lets you keep more of the lands for now and see what you really need to go after.
It allows him to decide next turn whether or not he needs the mana or if he wants to Wasteland Connor's Dryad Arbor, or if Connor, for some reason, plays a Gaia's Cradle. He should never play a Gaia's Cradle, but it leaves him the option.
Harley looks like he picked up a Cavern of Souls for his draw, so we found some white mana outside of Aether Vial, but I don't think he's going to need it.
Yeah.
Thalia, Mother of Runes in the grip. I think there might be a Swords, though, so the Swords doesn't get any mana from the Cavern.
The Swords is a bit awkward here, but at the same time, Connor right now is kind of having a slow start, so he's going to have time to find what he needs, and I think this might actually be a game where Harley might be able to take it.
Interesting here, Connor opting to lead on a Heritage Druid over, say, Natural Ordering for something there. I mean, not Natural, Green Sun Zenith. What's the card that he has in the back of his hand?
I cannot make that out 100%, honestly.
It might be another Green Sun.
I know his hand has 2 Green Sun Zeniths.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it is the second one. And Harley here, very importantly, actually picking up the Plains to cast the Swords of Plowshares, Mother of Runes taking the life that he gained.
So this is the type of game that Death and Taxes can win. They're able to prevent Connor from doing anything early and then leverage their taxing effects and their land disruption effects to prevent Connor from really doing anything further. So we could very well see Harley take game 1.
Interesting to see there, Connor had the ability to bounce his forest to his hand, untap Dryad Arbor, play the forest again, and cast Elvish Visionary. He elected not to.
So I'm going to just say, I imagine this is an example of an experience with the deck.
Okay. Quirion Ranger is a weird card.
Quirion Ranger, this entire deck is really weird. There's a lot of things you have to know, a lot of things you have to keep in mind. There's a lot of room for mistakes if you aren't very familiar with the deck.
Just, Quirion Ranger and Wirewood Symbiote are the 2 cards specifically that give this deck just such the play that it has and the requirement for just like knowing your deck very, very well.
And it's also the balance of how hard you want to commit to the board in case you draw a Glimpse of Nature, because if you commit all of your creatures to the board, but then you draw Glimpse of Nature does nothing, but then if you don't commit anything, you're not putting threats down, so it's like, how much do I commit to the board? How much do I hold back?
And here Connor was attempting to fetch and cast a Green Sun Zenith, but Thalia is not going to have any of that. So we're just in a situation where Connor's just found himself a little bit behind, and I think that, well, it is an experience, or just...
There definitely is some amount of inexperience here, but to Connor's defense, I think even if he had played 100% optimally here, that this game is just going to be hard for him to get. That being said, he does have time.
Yeah, Harley's not really doing a whole ton right now. His hand doesn't look like it has anything that really matters outside of the board. I think he has potentially a second Thalia in hand with a land.
Yes, he let himself get Wasteland also. Because Quirion can return a forest.
Yeah, Quirion Ranger could have picked up the Dryad Arbor there.
I didn't mention it at the time because we were talking about the other thing with Quirion, but here we are.
Quirion Ranger has a lot of text. I mean, it's not necessarily a ton of text, but it's a lot of relevant text.
I haven't read the text in a long time because I have a Korean one because it was too good of an opportunity to be like, it's a Korean Quirion Ranger.
Well, here the Ranger picks up the forest that was tapped down by the Rishadan Port, allows him to effectively untap it as his land for the turn, and Elvish Visionary gets played off of it. Here comes Mirran Crusader, which is...
So this is going to turn the clock and turn his board into an actual clock.
Oh, absolutely.
He's able to actually threaten Connor now and able to actually leverage how far he is ahead right now.
Well, I mean, look at this. Mother of Runes is coming in here. Like, that's how confident he feels in how this game's going.
He realizes that he doesn't need the Mother of Runes because he's not getting to the type of game where he's trying to protect his creatures. He's trying to end the game. If Connor wants to block his Mother of Runes and trade off one of his 2 elves,
I would assume Elvish Visionary in this sense, but
yeah.
I mean, 6 and 5 are effectively the same life total in this situation right now.
As long as you don't get to 4 exactly, then you're fine.
Yeah, especially because it's practically impossible for Connor to do anything about this Mother of Runes. And with the Vrynmare also joining the mix, making any non-creature spells cost 1 billion, Connor not having access to any amount of creatures that makes a card like Gaia's Cradle actually really powerful here. He's just going to fall short with the little bit of disruption that Death and Taxes is able to do early in the game.
Yep. So, at this point, the game's over. Connor can't do anything. We're going to see a concession here shortly, and then from that point, we're going to be in sideboard games, though Harley does get a little bit of advantage here because he is up a game going to sideboards, and that is good for him because usually that doesn't happen, but it can.
I kind of equated the other day Death and Taxes to kind of the modern Jund of this format. You were about to drink from a closed soda can. But I kind of equate this to the modern Jund of this format, where you just have like kind of a relatively even matchup in most of your game ones, but your sideboard lets you really pick up the rest of your percentages.
It is like that in some ways. It's different in some other... Like, it's one of those things where, yes, it is, but at the same time, it's also trying to be more like the Humans deck of the format because it's running a bunch of silver bullets. It's not doing the Jund plan of, like, you're trying to play threats that can handle what your opponent's doing while also, like, removing things. You're instead trying to play silver bullets in your main board, and that's why you have so many even matchups, because you have so many silver bullets.
Yep.
But it is the same principle.
All right, so here we're moving to sideboard. Which side of this sideboard would you like to take? Would you like to take the green side or the white side?
Elves, because I've actually played this deck.
All right, so Elves is down the game, so go ahead and take our sideboarding.
Okay, then. So, you got Abrupt Decay. And,
that it?
That's it. There are some other cards. Progenitus is worth considering, but I don't like that much. And as far as cuts, there are just a few random things you can cut. You can cut down on some of your non-creature spells, either your Natural Orders or your Green Sun Zeniths. Most likely your Green Sun Zenith.
Ooh, really? You'd rather get rid of...
So I'd probably cut down to 2 Natural Orders just because it's so expensive, especially when your opponent's playing, you know, a bunch of Thalias. So you can even like cut completely Natural Orders, but you do want some amount just because you do have Cradle of Behemoths, and you don't want to just completely cut that entire side of your deck out, especially when you're only bringing in 3 Abrupt Decays.
Okay, so 2 Natural Orders, and you think the third card, then, like, what do you think of cutting one of the 4 Glimpses?
One of the 4 Glimpses, one of the Green Suns. If you're cutting 2 of the Natural Orders, you could cut 1 Cradle Hoof. Like,
is that a Deathrite Shaman that just got set down by Connor?
So, there is a reason to cut that.
I understand.
But it's not in the top 3 choices I would make to cut.
Me neither. All right, moving from the Death and Taxes side, and I'm not going to have a ton of guarantee on any of the sideboarding from this side, but as far as cards go, Ethersworn Canonist, Elves has some turns where it needs to play a lot of spells in one turn. Ethersworn Canonist slows that down, makes it to where it's not possible for them to really have a Glimpse of Nature turn. That card's going to be very good for this type of matchup. I could also potentially see extra removal and Path to Exile, which seems kind of weird, but there are just certain cards that matter. Like Heritage Druid matters more than the rest of the cards. The Wirewood Symbiote type effects matter more than the rest of the cards.
I like Path to Exile in this matchup. Having the additional piece of disruption for their on-board threats is relevant.
So I would bring those 4 in, and as far as cuts go, I would probably look towards some of the cards like... I'm not sure how good a card like Batterskull actually is in this matchup. A lot of the ground gets clogged, but it is a fast clog.
It does get clogged, but there is the thing about playing a turn 3 Batterskull can still sometimes be good enough. I'm not overly impressed by Vryn's Wingmare. It's just
that was one of the cards I would think about cutting. That along with, I also am not a huge... I know Sword of Fire and Ice, when you connect with it, can deal some damage, but connecting with that card also just seems difficult.
Yeah, I think that's probably the equipment that would be first online to get cut. Like, it might be Batterskull, but I personally just like Batterskull because it's a good card.
In this list that's mostly like 4s and 3s of the decks, or of the cards that it plays, do you think the 2 copies of Recruiter of the Guard are cards that are necessary in this type of matchup? So I think that then the Ringmare, the 2 Recruiters, and the Sword of Fire and Ice are the cards that I would look to cut in this type of matchup.
And in response to the comment about Jitte, yeah, that card's pretty good in this matchup, as it turns out something that can just, you know, pew all the elves. It's pretty solid.
The first Planeswalker is very powerful.
Yes.
But here we're going to have Elves on the play, and hopefully it's going to do a little bit more than it did last game. Opening hand so far, 2 lands, there's a Symbiote, Birchwood Ranger lands 3, 4, and 5.
So this isn't looking too great for Connor either. He's been having some pretty subpar draws here.
Yep, that one's going away. From Harley's side, it looks like a hand that he's happy enough with. Didn't get a good look at it
How
yet
do I
again.
get the pew pews? How do I get those? Anguthics. You need to explain. I need them. I need them.
Where do they come from? Alright, Harley's opening hand, if we can maybe get a look at it here. No way. Just actual no way that we're going to get a look.
Nope. Harley is... I'm pretty sure Harley at this point has studied the best way to hide his hand. He's like, alright, so if I hold it up this much, they can see it. Hoogland Stream, there's a cost. Alright, I'll pay it. So.
Alright, so 2 Deathrite Shamans, Quirion Ranger, a Fetch Land, a Bayou, and a Cavern of Souls. It's a pretty alright hand. It's not explosive. It doesn't really do much after turn 2. But
it's medium.
It's better than a 5.
Oh, it's for sure better than a 5.
Alright, from Harley's side, it looks like there's Karakas Plains. There's a Stoneforge Mystic hiding in the mix there. Can't get a great look at the rest of the cards, though.
Yep. And
Deathrite Shaman coming in for some damage.
At this point, it's fine. Like
Connor's first draw was another land, also.
Yeah. So Connor's hand is on the board. He doesn't have anything else. His hand is lands. I believe he has a fetch land, so he can get a Dryad Arbor if he wants to.
2 mana from Harley. Here is Thalia. Pretty much stops any combat Connor has at the moment.
Yep. That's not great for
Ooh,
him.
another Deathrite Shaman.
So, Deathrite Shaman is definitely its weakest in this matchup. There are not that many lands to eat. There are not that many instants and sorceries to eat. There are creatures.
Woohoo!
But
you're going to gain 2 life.
At the same time, if there's creatures, they're probably your creatures.
Windswept Heath coming down. Verdict Catacomb left over for Connor. Wasteland, the play from Harley. Not really any good targets for that one.
Not really. There's no real reason to fire off. You're not worried about the Cavern and Wastelanding a forest when there's Quirion out.
Wastelanding at this time also just gives 2 lands for the Deathrite Shamans.
Yeah. At this point, it's just a waste. not like that wasn't me making a pun. That's just a statement that it is a waste.
I can't believe you. Connor here, end of turn, going to fetch away the Windswept Heath. I think we might be going for a Dryad Arbor here. It makes our Gaia's Cradle that we might draw better, so we can make more mana for nothing.
If he draws the Gaia's Cradle, he'd have 8 mana off of just lands.
Wow.
Which would be real good to cast that nothing in his hand.
So Dryad Arbor here going to come in from the Windswept Heath, get another creature to pair with his Assorted Idiots that have no effects. Draw from Connor a Greenstone Zenith. Alright, so that's a real card. That's whatever he wants.
Correct.
Not a Craterhoof here, though.
Nope. But he does have enough options. He has 3, 5, 6 mana. 7 mana.
We have access to 8 if he wants to use the Quirion Ranger.
Yeah, because...
Oh, no, there's...
No, he's already played a land.
Short 1 land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he could get Greenstone Zenith for 5 with Thalia out, because he has 7 mana.
Yeah. And that's counting the activation of Ranger on the Dryad Arbor.
Because 7... No, he has 8 mana. I miscounted. I counted.
No, there's only 2 lands in the graveyard, so Deathrite Shamans aren't all worth mana.
Yeah, but you can untap the...
so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. So 7. So I was right. And then I corrected myself. But I was wrong. Past me confirmed better than future me.
Harley, though, has the ability to break up the Quirion Ranger untap Dryad Arbor if you would like to with the Wasteland.
He does.
But that does turn a mana on for the Deathrite Shaman.
It does. Like, it's a good play from Harley's side. So
Connor here thinking about what he wants to potentially Greenstone Zenith for, or if he wants to at all.
At this point,
you could do a value Zenith for, say, like an Elvish Visionary. I know it doesn't seem super powerful, but Containment Priest would have bullied all that right up.
Like, that's the best play that turn with the Greenstone Zenith.
I didn't even remember about that as a counter to both Zenith and...
No, I thought about it. I didn't mention it, but when your opponent goes natural order and you flash into Containment Priest, it's not great for them.
And here's Stoneforge Mystic finding the Jitty. And Connor draws another Greenstone Zenith.
So at this point, I think that Harley's going to clean 2-0 him.
Ooh!
This matchup is not favored for Elves.
It's not favored for Elves?
Not favored for taxes. But you can win it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, and it's kind of like how you were saying. There are your very skewed matchups in this format, but a lot of it actually is relatively back and forth. Another Quirion Ranger the draw there for Connor, and he's just not going to really be able to push anything out here because he has no way to tutor for cards without putting them directly into play. And Containment Priest is just going to completely mess that kind of thing up.
And once he starts... So, Harley choosing to tap his Wasteland here, which means that Connor can now block the Stoneforge Mystic and bounce the...
block his Dryad Arbor and bounce it.
Yeah.
I hope Connor sees that.
If he doesn't see it, then this game's pretty over.
It's a very, very important line that the deck has here. I think he's thinking about double blocking with a Deathrite Shaman, but that doesn't work because Umezawa's Jitty gets counters.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons it doesn't work.
They're just all the don't.
Oh
no,
no. The squad, eh? All right. So the whole team went in front. So Thalia here is going to take care of one of the Deathrite Shamans. Thalia will die, or get bounced back here after First Strike has gone through.
He could also just kill the 2 Quarions and pump it for 4, in which case it doesn't die.
But then you use your counters not to remove anything. But you keep
do.
your Thalia.
And you take care of both their Quarions, and like...
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah, this is a bizarre play. I just don't think that Connor realized just how powerful Queer Nature is. And Crocus here at the end of all this will bounce the Thalia back to the hand. Quite the hand there for Harley, so he will have to discard, and it looks like he's actually going to discard away this Thalia that he just bounced back.
So I'd like to point out that turn, instead of what happened to Connor's side, it could have just went, block, return this to my hand. Instead he went, block, lose, how many creatures was that? 4?
A total of...
3.
No, a total of 3.
3.
But his 2 best ones. Ooh, Wirewood Symbiote. Now he can bounce an elf. Maybe now he knows how it works.
Oh, man. Rip in peace.
I also completely just forgot that Wirewood Symbiote art got printed for EMA. And like the first time I saw it the other day, I was like, what the hell is this?
So I actually like this art.
Oh, I love the art.
Because it actually kind of like shows what it's doing with the elves.
Otherwise, it's just like, here's my bug.
I like the original art more just because like I like Scourge cards specifically. There's apparently one that I play in Legacy. I don't know what it is, but Scourge is great. Great set. Not really. It's an awful set. Please don't play that set.
Well, yeah. It's where they decided Storm was the mechanic.
That's not the reason it's not a good set. That's the reason why I like it's a good set, because they made the best mechanic.
Sure, man. Alright, so Harley's side, he has a plethora of assorted Magic the Gathering cards in hand. Sarah Avenger in the mix. I think Sanctum Prelate might be in that stack as well. But really, the card that matters is already in play. I can't imagine anything that Sanctum Prelate realistically shuts off here outside of, say, exactly Abrupt Decay.
Sanctum Prelate to shop Abrupt Decay, or if you're worried about Natural Order
You're not worried about Natural Order, you have a Containment Priest. So if you prelate prelate away Abrupt Decay, then you no longer have any way that he can unlock his...
You can do that for Abrupt Decay, or you can do it for Glimpse of Nature, but Connor's been playing everything in his hand. And he can get 1 draw by returning a Deathrite Shaman and then recasting Deathrite Shaman. But realistically, that's not very good when you're limited on mana. So, at this point, he does need a way to answer that thing.
Swords of Plowshare is just going to check away the Wirewood Symbiote. So now there's no block, not use it thing. Connor here just going to pick up his Deathrite Shaman, I guess, hoping he draws Glimpse.
That's
ambitious.
I mean, yeah. Like, you're playing your outs at this point, but it just doesn't look that great on its face.
Oh, no, not at all. And here if Harley just, like, say, suits up his Stoneforge Mystic and rumbles, like, any blocks Connor has gets rid of all the creatures.
Yeah, and if he doesn't block, then that gets rid of 1 of the creatures, and that's enough.
We do occasionally stream Standard. It's usually when it matters.
Yeah, usually before large events that are playing Standard. Right now, though, there's a lot of hype around Modern, so we've been doing a lot of Modern, and we decided to do Legacy last week, and it was decently popular, so we decided to do Legacy again, just because we want to show off another side of the format.
Yeah, we don't get to play this format a lot with the group, and it makes it to where we just get a little bit more interesting things going on.
Yeah.
Well, Modern's very interesting. It's very wide open. A lot of us do play kind of the same decks.
Yeah, that's correct. So, It's right now we're just taking a little break, showing a little something different, and then we're probably gonna get back to modern, and sometime soon we'll be doing standard again because standard's decent enough right now if you're playing Grixis Energy.
So there's the Abrupt Decay Connor needed. Abrupt Decay taking care of Containment Priest there, and I understand why. He needs to unlock this Green Sun Zenith so that he can find a Reclamation Sage.
Yep.
I'm not sure if we're going to have another one of those anytime soon, because the last time we did a Pauper stream, everyone seemed very uninterested in it in the group. Not specifically on this side, but in the group.
I don't think that's likely, to put it plainly. Like
the issue with it is a good majority of the players in our group don't really enjoy the format, and I understand why some of them might not enjoy the format.
Yeah, I think that at this point there's like one or two that do. So it's one of those things where it's like a little bit, like what the group wants. So that does have to be considered.
But as far as say going back to the do we ever stream standard part of the discussion, I would assume that we're going to start doing it again here, coming actually soonish, late April to early May, because that's when we're going to start hitting the invitational testing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be in this table a lot less.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't need to test. It's what I do. I just show up at events.
Well, I usually never test.
So I do well in the events I don't test for.
So the Plowshares here are going to get rid of the last creature from Connor's side. Thalia going to follow it up. And Connor, we need something good here. You've unlocked everything, but there's still this Jitty in play. Deathrite Shaman, not going to cut it here because Jitty's going to start taking over the game just again.
Yep. So Harley's able to just keep control of the board. He has a mix of Double Swords, Plowshares, Containment Priest, and it was always Jete to make sure that Connor can't really do anything. And that is kind of what Death and Taxes wants to do in every matchup.
Jitty goes up to 3 counters. Harley has quite the handful of cards that matter. I think here a Sarah Avenger might come in. Looks like a different card. Phyrexian Revoker. I'm going to assume that one's naming Deathrite Shaman.
Yep. That's the most likely name, and that just kind of makes Connor's board laughably bad.
Yep. Connor picked up a Glimpse of Nature. And his hand just continues to not really do anything. He has to find a lot of lands for his hand to actually have an effect. Harley here picked up an Ethersworn Canonist, which is going to join the fray. Thalia didn't want to untap, it looks like.
Yeah. Yep. So Connor tried to call out the Ethersworn Canonist, but Ethersworn Canonist itself is an artifact.
Yep, so you can cast a spell to follow it. Harley here going to pick up a 2-0 sweep against Connor here, and that's kind of an upset for the matchup, but definitely something that seems like it can happen.
It can happen. It isn't supposed to happen, and honestly, that game is kind of hard to tell why it's not supposed to happen. But Elves, when it's firing on all, or at least most of its cylinders, is really good against this deck.
So it looks like Harley brought a total of 7 cards in. We didn't talk about the Containment Priests. I'm not sure what the 7th card is. But the full playset of Mother of Runes came out for him, which I actually like thinking about.
Mother of Runes is a card I did not consider, but definitely should have. I'm not the hugest fan of Sanctum Prelate, but I understand why he left it in.
I think there's enough cards that Prelate shuts off.
Not Sanctum Prelate. Recruiter of the Guard.
Yeah.
Get those two mixed up.
All right. Group here talking about standard, how wide open it is versus how some people like it a little bit more closed.
So I personally am the type of person that likes a closed format.
You play control decks.
Yeah, I like to go in there and be like, I can make my deck to beat these top 3 to 4 decks at max.
I'm usually on the same camp. I like to be able to metagame formats.
Yeah. So, I honestly am fine with it. That's also just because, there are 2 good decks that are base blue back in standard, and that's what I do well with in standard. Well, that and Splinter Twin when they allow it to be illegal, but they've only done that twice.
We're talking about standard.
No, it's been legal twice in standard.
Oh, that's fair.
And I've played both versions. Let me tell you, the one with actual Splinter Twin. Woo! Play that again.
All right. So here we're going to be moving on to round 2. We're going to see Harley yet again, and as you might see from our schedule here, we're going to see a lot of back-to-back players. That's just to make it to where there's less movement down in the
There's less movement, and it allows for some people have stretch roll constraints. And here's this list. We've seen it. It's a real plain list.
White creatures.
Yep.
And we're playing against Miracles, right?
Yep. Now, Sean is a person who has played Miracles since it was a blue-white control.
You can find a deck tech with him.
Yep.
He says no words.
He says a couple words, like brainstorm is good. Now, Sean is, I will, all jokes aside, say that Sean is the best Miracles player I know or I've met, and I've played a fair amount of Legacy.
Okay.
And he is able to do the thing that's most important in Miracles, which is finish the game.
Yep.
Because the clock is your biggest enemy with this deck. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of different cards here. Swords, Plowshares, Cantrips, one Flush of Storm in the main, 4 Force of Wills is your main counterspells, and then 1 counterspell. He's also on the 2 Counterbalance. That's a little less common nowadays, but he is playing it, and it does give you some more game against decks like Storm.
Yep, 2 Predicts also in the mix, and interesting to see 4 Ponder, 3 Portent. That seems like a lot of that cantrip. I've usually been seeing that 5 copies total.
So it is a lot of that cantrip, but at the same time, he's also playing the counterbalances, which have been falling out of favor recently. A lot of people are not playing those just because it's harder to consistently shape the top of your deck for it. And honestly, it's not that good against a lot of decks if you can't constantly shape your deck with Sensei Stop. But against decks like against Storm, where you go turn 2, it being a 0/1 drop is good enough. But anyways, they're starting.
Yep, they're starting. One more thing I did want to mention, 3 copies of Searches for his contest seems like a lot for this deck.
Yes. That's
it. That's all we have.
Yes.
All right. So Sean here going to lead on a Tundra with a Ponder. Harley's going to respond with Wastelanding. It looks like he has another Wasteland up in the grip and something else. But Sean here is going to play a fetch land, and I'm going to assume is likely going to just find basics with it if he needs to use it.
Yeah. He's just going to try to keep himself strong against the Wasteland plan. Start trying to generate some value off his Search for His Content.
The card advantage powerhouse.
Known as Search for His Content. And right now, Harley isn't doing all that much. I imagine we're going to see some type of creature on turn 2. If it's a Thalia, that's has a good chance of being good here.
Thalia is probably one of his best turn 2 plays, but here he doesn't have any. He's just going to go ahead and port away the island, it looks like.
Yep. Porting away the island prevents him from casting cantrips and further progressing his hand. But at the same time...
Is Harley opting to do this? No, that's a Flickerist. I thought it might be a...
At the same time, Harley trying to play the long game with Miracles doesn't always necessarily work out. It's a long game you can win, but it's a little awkward.
So what Sean here did is... Harley went, in your upkeep, I'm going to attempt to port your island.
Yep.
Sean then said, okay, my Search for His Content trigger will resolve. I'll look at the card. I'll leave it there. Use the island mana to cast a Predict, and... He might have known that card from something.
Yeah. Really heads up play. One of those things that you have to consider when you're playing Miracles is Predict is one of those cards that there are just a lot of weird things that come up with it.
I feel like there might be enough people that just aren't familiar with the card Predict, and what we saw it resolve there. Do you want to go ahead and just like...
So it's 1 and a blue. You guess the top card of target player's library. They mill it. If it's the card you named, you draw 2. If it's not the card you named, you draw 1.
Yep.
Here it is on the screen.
There is the card, and very powerful with the Ponder, the Portent effects. It's also very good against Delver.
It's
because when they check reveal with Delver, you get to hit them in their upkeep with it. It's very interesting.
The card is very interesting. It allows a lot of weird play patterns to come up, which are always interesting to watch.
All right. So Sean here just going to play, looks like his 4th land, or 5th land of the game, actually, and Harley has done nothing to commit to this board.
Yeah, so he's not committing anything at all. He has only destroyed 1 of Sean's lands. He supported him a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. Sean's not in a rush to do anything. And
say like a Wasteland were to come down here on the Tundra, that means Sean can keep his top card if he likes to, and Search for His Content will be flipping on this following turn.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing anything, I like holding the Wasteland to make sure that Sean doesn't flip the Search for His Content and start getting value, because once Sean can just start getting value every turn, what are you going to do?
Search for His Content, so Plains is going to be tapped down by Harley here in the upkeep in response to the trigger. Sean's just going to go ahead and mill over a Terminus here, and I'm wondering if he's going to actually like to flip it, and here he's not going to.
So I imagine that he's not flipping it because he realizes there's a good chance he doesn't want to activate it this turn, and the fact that Harley was so willing to just fire off the Wasteland in the face of an almost flipped Search for His Content may lead him to believe that there is another Wasteland coming.
A third Wasteland, though, just seems slightly unlikely.
It's unlikely.
Especially for the deck that has no way to manipulate it.
It is unlikely, but the play pattern is just so weird. Why would you Wasteland a Tundra when there's this card that's just going to...
Maybe you're just really aggressive, man.
Are you? Is this what we call aggression?
This is Harley.
This board doesn't look aggressive.
All right, Umezawa's Jitty in the grip. That one not at its best here.
Not his best when you have no creatures.
Looks like Mirran Crusader, Phyrexian Revoker might also be in the mix.
Yeah, you got him.
3 mana. Here comes Recruiter of the Guard.
Okay.
Oh, 3 mana 1/1.
3 mana 1/1 that lets me search for a creature. I just put my first threat in play.
Toughness 2 or less.
Yes. It's a reverse. The red one.
Reverse Imperial Recruiter.
Imperial Recruiter.
Yep, Recruiter of the Guard. Here it's coming up on the screen here. Yep, 2 and a white, 1/1 enters the battlefield. You may search your library for a creature with toughness 2 or less, reveal it, and put it in your hand.
Yep.
It gives the deck a little bit of the ability to be a toolbox deck if it would like. It has some very good power in some matchups with some of your 1-ofs, your 2-ofs.
Yes.
But here, he's just going to search for a Stoneforge Mystic, and Harley doesn't have another land to play and has to discard away a Flicker Wisp, which I find interesting when he has a card like Jitty in hand.
Yeah. Now, we're going to go and get to see Jace the Mind Sculptor hit the board on a pretty empty board from Harley's side.
Well, you don't think a 1/1 threatening?
No, it's super not. And this Jace the Mind Sculptor is going to allow Sean to start Shape Things hand every turn. He can set up miracles if he wants to, or if he has access to setting them up, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it just very hard for Harley to effectively enact a game plan.
Sean here has a Island Snapcaster Mage. I believe he has a backup Jace in the hand as well. His hand is loaded with things to do, and I am not worried about his position in this game.
Yeah. So he's not going to win quick from this point, but this game is getting harder and harder for Harley to pull out.
Harley here is going to go ahead and find a Sword of Fire and Ice as a Stoneforge Mystic, opting to get that over something like the Batterskull that most players would grab here, but it's unlikely Stoneforge is going to make it through the turn.
Yeah.
Phyrexian Revoker, the follow-up. Jace the Mind Sculptor, oddly enough, the name. And there was a Terminus hanging out.
Yep. Sean just went ahead and set that up with the Jace the Mind Sculptor Brainstorm in anticipation of Harley dumping his hand in order to try to combat the Jace. And that made it so his Jace just is now going to be on an empty board.
Terminus Jace is a very powerful set of cards, and here Sean now is in the Fate Seal point of the game, and we're seeing a Cavern of Souls, and I think we're okay with that one.
Yeah, he considered it for a bit because it does allow Harley to cast creatures without worry about counterspell, but at the same time, I really don't think you're worried about that.
Well, so like the only counterspell Sean has access to are 4 copies of Force of Will, the 2 counterbalance effects,
and
then
one
exact counterspell.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where that's the reason he paused for a second instead of just snap taking it, like leaving it there. But at this point in the game, you don't care that much.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you would. So Jitty and Flicker Wisp going to be the plays here from Harley. Flicker Wisp going to set the Jace down to 3. Haha, Flicker Wisp's ability, ping target Planeswalker.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best thing he has, but at the same time, boy, this is not feeling good for him.
Sean untapped, search for his cost is going to show another Terminus. And that one's good enough to put that down. And I think that's all 3 Terminuses gone, though.
It's all 3 of them, but at the same time, Harley can't exactly flood the board from this point. We know one of the cards in his hand is a sword.
Sword Splashers, Sword of Fire and Ice, Flicker Wisp, Mirran Crusader, and the card was left on top here, so Sean's not worried about whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Looks like it might be another Flicker Wisp. So these Flicker Wisps can keep being cast as deal 2 damage to Jace if you'd like.
They can do that thing you just mentioned.
But here comes Thalia. I think that might have actually been the card that was left up top. And Council's Judgment in the hand along with Jace and Snapcaster from Sean.
So this is looking pretty good for him here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Good for who?
For the man with the Jace the Mind Sculptor, actually.
Force of Will going to be sent to the graveyard by Sean. He has no interest in playing that card, it seems. Picks up another card in the back of the hand. Too much of a glare to really get a good look at it.
Yeah. It's fine, though. We'll get to see what's going on in his hand soon enough. At this point, all that really matters is that he's able to just keep...
Back to brainstorming as he very adamantly announces to his opponent. Counterbalance one of the pickups there. Harley's not even interested, just checking out the phone. What's going on over here?
Yeah, he's just like, I mean, yeah, I'm dead, but like, you haven't killed me yet.
Flutter Strand the play. Sean now has 2 fetch lands in play. I think he put the counterbalance on top. He's not interested in it with the Cavern of Souls in play. A Karakas the pickup from Harley, so that's some protection for the Thalia.
It's some Yeah, it's some protection from the Thalia, but at this point, boy, is that not a thought you should have.
Jitty gets equipped to the Thalia, and she rumbles in. I'm going to assume coming at Jace. 17's a lot of damage. So Sean's going to go ahead and point his Swords of Plowshares at the Thalia. In response, Harley will activate the Crocus on the Thalia to try to save it.
Yep.
That's A-okay with Sean. No want to Snapcaster Swords it in response or something similar.
I mean, he can do it end of turn if you want. Really.
Yeah, and Thalia's going to come back down, and I mean, if he has that line, I would... Are that 2 Snapcaster Mages now? I think I see the arm gun on both the cards in the front of his...
Yeah. Which, that's not great for Harley.
Fetch land, going to get rid of that counterbalance, and I believe one of the lands that he might have put up top.
Yep.
Just going to go ahead and get a Tundra here.
At this point, if your opponent wants to wasteland your Tundra, sure. Go crazy.
I'm kind of interested he's getting it over the second plains, to be honest. Because he is missing on the second white mana outside of the Tundra, but, I mean, it's still in the deck. He has another fetch land.
It doesn't really matter that much, and at this point, if your opponent uses out of the wasteland, then that's fine. You eventually might have to flip that Search for Azcanta.
Yep. All right. So Brainstorm went to the hand for Sean. Azcanta has finally flipped. We don't get to draw another card.
Yep. He almost did. Then, so Search for Azcanta, a card he's still not super familiar with. All right. He found it.
2 damage comes in. Fate Seal yet again. Going to tick up on Harley. We see an Aether Vial. I think we're okay with that one.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I was laughing at something else. I was laughing in the comments.
Oh, I see it. All right, Harley here. Aether Vial. I think we knew about that one. I don't think we're worried.
Aether Vial not very good at turn a lot of the game.
Some rather irrelevant cards left over for Harley, and we're still fighting the fight though.
Yeah. So realistically, this is a point that Harley can concede from. So Sean at this point is able to activate his Search for Azcanta every turn. Well, Azcanta the Sunken Ruin at this point. He's able to uptick the Jace, which will gradually lead up to ulting and killing Harley. And Harley can't stick anything in the face of all this.
So Sean end of turn activated Azcanta. He picked up a Ponder, and then in the upkeep, Harley went to use his port on the Azcanta the Sunken Ruin to make it to where Sean had to activate again. So Sean has picked up both a Ponder and a Brainstorm from the Azcanta here.
Though at this point, even though that is a good play to make Sean use mana, it doesn't really matter that much when he has access to 9 mana, 10 if he plays another land.
3 mana here. I think here's Council's Judgment on Aether Vial.
Yes.
Sean then following with, why did I do that?
Alright.
Mother of Runes, the top card for Harley. That one's going to be very easy for Sean to answer in a matter of different ways, I'm sure.
Yeah. So he's going to play Mother, and hope that's good enough to answer this chase before it, ends the game.
I really appreciate Sean making plays and literally seconds later saying, what did I do? Brainstorm here, end of turn, going to get rid of some of the worst cards in Sean's hand with the fetch land there.
Yep.
We see Swords of the Plowshares pulled up front. I think Portent and Ponder also in the mix. Creighton89, thank you for the follow, and we appreciate you getting there tonight.
Always great to have more people, get there and start to watch the stream for whatever reason.
For these very powerful plays.
There have been some powerful plays on Sean's side. He cuts the Terminus, and then
Sean's
the next
going to
turn,
deck himself.
Is that what you think's going to happen?
That's what I think's going to happen in this game, man.
I don't think it is.
Maybe he's one of those players that thinks Jace only has a 0.
So, to be fair, I do think that this game will end by decking.
Which side?
I'm going to guess on the Harley side.
How many times will Jace ultimate this game?
That does sound like some type of Sean French thing to do. How many times can I ultimate this Jace the Mind Sculptor?
Is it possible to do it twice? Or I guess you play the second one, yeah. So you ult it and then play the second one, and he has a full 7-card hand, then you can do it twice.
Yeah, or you could just or if you're just Sean, you could just uptick for a bunch of turns, go ultimate it, next turn ultimate it, next turn ultimate it.
Crocus tapping for mana, another Crocus coming down. Here is Mirren Crusader. Protection from colors that Sean doesn't control.
Yep.
Not important.
Not important at all, and
ooh,
it's just
hard cast Forces Will, huh? He doesn't want any of that.
Yep, And that Cavern Souls Relevantly is on Elemental.
Zadrew, thanks as well for the follow, and we appreciate you getting there as well.
Yep, always great to have people that sound somewhat like Andrew. Only with a
Is
Z.
it?
And that owl guy. Thank you for getting there. I also like owls.
Nice little train here.
Is it?
Little follow train.
You guys keep doing that.
Just keep. There we
Bear,
go.
There we go. That's some
Tenacity 150. Also, thank you for the follow. We appreciate you getting there as well. As you get to see Sean, or Miracles player in the group, just absolutely bully Harley in every way imaginable.
Yeah. I kind of looked away from the screen for all the excitement. Did that Chase the Mind Sculptor get reset?
I'm pretty sure it was ultimated.
No, it was reset.
Oh, I got Flicker Wisp.
Yeah.
Now I'm really disappointed.
This game's gonna take longer now.
Maybe the Sean decking line is real.
No, it's not.
It's real. Forcible to pick up for Sean here. Just more and more cards that aren't going to allow Harley to really play games. Swords of Plowshares here. Going to get rid of the Flicker Wisp. Snapcaster going to take down a couple of the points that Harley gained. Has Jace activated? Sean's not... Okay. So we have to plus our Jace if we're doing that. There we go. Vryn Ringmare. He's okay with him having that one. Is a tax effect good when your opponent has 11 lands?
Not really, no.
Cast my Force of Will.
When your opponent can also just pay 5 mana and counter it. Like...
He doesn't even get any treasures from that 5 mana counter spell.
Oh, man. He could be playing the better counter spell.
Yeah, he could be playing Spell Swindle.
There's so many better counter spells he'd be playing.
Wasteland. Ooh, he doesn't want him to have that one. We got to keep her as Kanta. The card that we have 3 copies of in our deck. And there's Monastery Mentor. So this game's probably going to end pretty soon.
Yeah. Monastery Mentor means he's actually going to be able to clock him quicker than just... Never mind.
Swords of Plowshare is going to go ahead and try to do something with that. Brainstorm going to make a token. We have the right tokens over there, but Sean here going to use his tokens regardless.
Yeah, he has to go on Kanye Quest.
A second Brainstorm here in response. Is Kanta getting tapped? Draw 3 from Sean, put 2 back.
Yep.
Resolve my other Brainstorm. Ooh, another Brainstorm.
Yeah, he's really putting Harley to the Kanye test right now.
Put 2 more back again. That Brainstorm has now resolved. Resolve or Swords of Plowshares. Sean gains... I'm not sure.
He should gain 5 life.
He should gain 4 because I'm going to assume the Swords are a response to the Prowess trigger.
Didn't he cast both Brainstorms in
He
response?
cast 2 of them in... He cast,
okay, he has 2 of them in response. I thought he cast
So there was a
response.
Swords, and then
Okay.
a Brainstorm, and then another Swords, and then another Brainstorm, and a 4th Brainstorm. Or a 3rd Brainstorm.
Okay, 3rd Brainstorm.
So there are a total of 2 Brainstorms that are going to resolve before the second
Okay,
Swords.
yes.
So Sean should have gained 4 there.
Yeah. I wasn't sure when exactly the Brainstorms happened.
Okay, so we're going for the kill here, eh? All right, Flusterstorm got cast. All the copies of Flusterstorm went after the original Flusterstorm, so the Ponder resolved. But 2 Prowess triggers resolved. These Kanyes are giants, and that's going to deal enough damage to Harley
It's
to close
actually
the
exactly
game.
lethal.
Exactly lethal?
No, it's not. It's actually much more than lethal.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Prowess triggers, not
Yeah,
4
so that's a
power.
total of 15, 16, 17, so it's
Yeah.
1 more than lethal.
Yeah,
it's not a
one
ton
than
more.
lethal,
But all right, Sean going to get game 1, and this matchup actually doesn't seem that skewed in either way, if I were to be actually honest.
So it's slightly favored for Miracles.
Yes.
Just because the card Terminus is good against Death and Taxes.
Shell Rima's never really appreciated the Kanye jest. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move into our sideboarding. Would you prefer the control deck or the creature deck?
I really want to just for the joke say the creature deck, but now I'll take the Miracle side.
All right, so I'll take the taxes side if we can go ahead and pull our taxes list back up.
I gotta tell you, I've been playing way too many Grixis colored decks in Legacy.
It doesn't really matter whichever way.
Yeah, do it on the sideways. That way we can just
Yeah.
pick this up. If that's cool with you.
All right, sides. Getting that up. All right, there it is.
You can start
So,
first.
from Harley's side, there are a couple cards that have an effect here, but overall, I don't really see a lot they would want to bring in. The Sanctum Prelate can mess up some of the cards, like naming that on 1, having the effect of Chalice affecting
Yep.
us a lot of the cards that he might have. Also naming it on 6, getting rid of cards like Terminus, or 4, getting rid of cards like Jason Lightspeeder. There's a lot of cards for it to do.
Yep.
But it does seem like a rather powerful card in this type of matchup.
Yep.
Other than that, 2 Gideon allies at the curse. His Jason Lightspeeder.
And it can be really powerful if it resolves against Miracles or against any mid-range deck, really.
And I would anticipate, that's what I think is all that's going to come in. There's an argument for Council's Judgment. There's an answer for Jace.
It is an answer to Jace, and it is an answer to an unflipped Search for Kanta. Or if Sean just decides to throw out a naked Monastery Mentor, it's an answer. But it's one of those things where it's like, do you really want to be trying to play the answer game in this matchup?
I don't think you do. So I would think bringing in the 1 Prelate and the 2 Gideons would be where I would start. And I would get rid of the 1 Umazawa's Jitty. Yep. And more than likely the 2 Mirror Crusaders.
So I like the Supreme Verdict, the Disenchants, the Engineered Explosives, the Path to Exile, and debatably the Snapcaster from Sean's side.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of Counterbalance in this matchup.
Okay.
I'm not a fan at all of Flusterstorm.
How many of those are we on? 1? All right, so we have 3 more cards with your 6 suggested.
So I don't necessarily think you need to cut all of the Search for Kantas, but definitely some number of Search for Kantas.
What about Predict in this matchup?
Predict is fine. It's medium, and it could get cut.
What of the 1 Counterspell?
The 1 Counterspell, same thing. Counterspell probably gets cut at that point.
Okay, so we're down to 2.
And that leaves you with 4 Force Wells, but you don't really care much about Counterspells in this matchup. There's even an argument for cutting down on the Force Wells just because there aren't a ton of things it hits.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of necessary counters.
Well, it hits a lot of things, but the thing is, a lot of things that you're countering, you don't want to waste 2 cards to counter. There aren't that many individually impactful cards specifically in this matchup. There are cards in Death and Taxes that are individually impactful in a lot of matchups, but this is one of those matchups where it's like nothing has by itself the most impactful.
I think this card is the one that you would want to be able to force a wall.
You want to be a force will it, but at the same time, like if you're bringing in a card to just answer the Aether Vial.
So turn 1 Aether Vial from Harley here is going to be met by a turn 1 Ponder from Sean, both players leading on a basic. Are these basics from the same set?
No, one of them is...
Because that's Lightning Basic, or Lightning Plains.
One of them is an APAC, one of them is an Odyssey.
Okay. Wasteland is going to be the play here from Harley, and Search for Kanta going to be down here for Sean. But Mother of Ruins is going to be online now for Harley, and outside of Terminus, that's a hard card to answer.
Terminus and Supreme Verdict.
Yeah. Council Judgment also.
Council Judgment, Engineered Explosives.
There's a decent amount of cards to answer it, alright. Snapcaster Mage going to be Ben here from the card advantage powerhouse known as Search for Kanta. Sean picks up a Volcanic Island as his draw. Looks like he's going to go ahead and run that out, but Harley's hand looks like it has a Jitty in it. There's also a sword.
Okay, so he's going to play a Thalia.
So Monastery Mentor is going to go on the stack. Aether Vial is going to put a Thalia in response to make it to attempt to make sure that there's no shenanigans that Sean can do with this Monastery Mentor.
So it also allows him, if he were to have like a sword, to cast the swords and know that there's no way Sean has a counterspell.
Sarah Avenger the pickup. Sorry, go ahead.
In general, it's one of those plays that had a lot of merit to doing it that way.
Gideon, Jitty, Sword, Sarah Avenger. That's a little awkward.
Yeah.
I am just Thalia, and then I want to put my 4 mana cards in my deck.
So it's one of those things where it's like, you can't cut Thalia, because Thalia is just like...
Very good.
Very good in this matchups. But at the same time, you also really want your Gideons. So it's a little weird. But at the same time, we did talk about how Sean's going to be cutting down counterspells, which does mean that you're going to have time to find your Gideon, and when you do, to find the mana for your Gideon, and when you do, it's most likely going to resolve.
2 mana here, going to cast a Terminus, put a token into play, and then get rid of it.
Yep.
Sean here then going to follow up with a Flooded Strand and a pass back to Harley. Harley left with an equipment, a Sarah Avenger, which he can now cast. And there it is. The 2 mana 3/3 with Vigilance and Flying that cannot be cast until your 4th turn.
Yep.
Search for Kanta looking at a card that Sean is happy with picking up here. And it looks like I think it might have been that Ponder.
I think Ponder may have been the card behind what he drew.
Okay.
But because it kind of looked like he flicked it a little bit.
Yeah, I
before
thought
he
he
did
put it in the second card deep, and then that's
Yeah.
what I thought he picked that.
I'm not positive. Like, it's a little hard to tell because you know we're not there looking at his hands, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit of room for us to lose track of cards. Doesn't really matter though. It was something decent.
Ponder looks like we got a shuffle there.
Yeah.
Land has not been played yet. Sean over asking if he had yet. Here, looks like Council's Judgment in the hand. Can't get a great look at the rest of it. Force of Will hiding out in the middle. That card's always really easy to find.
Yeah.
The mono red blue card. We want you to draw this red card for us. All right, we're gonna put it on the blue card.
I mean, to be fair, it's a really good art, but it just feels kind of out of place for what the card is.
Mm-hmm. Council's Judgment here, going to target that Aether Vial, get rid of it. Harley going to pick up a new card for turn.
And getting rid of the Aether Vial means that Harley now has to play the Sorcery game, and it makes Sean's board wipes a lot better and allows him to play his game plan a lot more effectively.
Absolutely. Sean here clapping for something.
He's clapping at something.
I'm very curious.
He might be clapping at the music.
Harley, I believe, has Mother of Runes, but I can't get a good look at anything else that he might have up there. Sanctum Prelate looks like the card that he has picked up here. So if you're playing a Sanctum Prelate this turn, what are you naming?
I mean, if you're playing it any turn, I feel like that you just kind of want to name 6. Your opponent hasn't played that many swords, and I mean, they've played no swords, but at the same time, you kind of want to try to prevent yourself from being Terminide again.
So your opponent has already played one copy of Terminus, and it looks like we're looking at another one here with the way that he's positioning this.
Yeah. So the big issue is that he has already played one Terminus, and there are more copies of Swords Plowshares. You can beat a Swords Plowshares, but...
What do you think of naming 4?
4?
It counters Jace, and then we are in sideboard games, and a card like Supreme Verdict is actually very likely.
So it stops the Jace, and it stops a card like Supreme Verdict if you were to bring it in. But honestly, I don't think that's the thing you're really all that worried about. Jace, while it is good, isn't the thing that's constantly clearing your board, which is the thing you're more concerned about, in my
Does
opinion.
Prelate specifically state opponents, or is it all players?
I believe it's opponents.
I believe so too, but that would be very awkward with a card like Gideon if it was. Swords Plowshares here going to take care of both of the creatures.
Yep.
Thanks to the help of Snapcaster Mage.
So Harley's going to gain a lot of life here. It doesn't really matter. And he
Jitty's going
uses
to take down.
Yeah.
It is all players. I was under that impression.
Okay, then. I don't know. I don't play these cards.
But here comes Gideon, and here we're going to see if this card is going to have an impact on this game. But Sean does have a Force of Will, and I think we're just forced into it, but he's empty-handed now, and there's no Jace.
He's empty-handed, but at the same time, he does have his Kanta.
But he only has one activation of it because there is a Wasteland in play.
He does only have one activation of it, but that's fine. At this point, Harley, if he doesn't put anything more to the board, Sean's fine with playing this game.
So Harley picked up a Stoneforge Mystic. So first we're going to start with Wasteland on the Card Advantage Powerhouse. And that looks like it's going to prompt an activation in response. Yep. We see Predict another search for Azcanta. Yep. And there is the other Azcanta. Not a great thing to find from Harley's side. And here's Stoneforge Mystic. So that's going to find the Batterskull, the only equipment we have left in our deck.
Yep. And Batterskull can do some work here if it's left unchecked.
Oh, no, we brought the sword.
Okay, that's
What do you
reasonable.
think of War and Peace in this matchup?
I think that if it hits, it does a lot of damage, but it doesn't really provide... It provides you protection from swords to plowshares, and I guess that's good enough. It
checks Monastery Mentor.
It checks Monastery Mentor, kind of. Like, that's not something I consider a lot, because when they're doing the Monastery plan, it's one of those things where it's like, if they're committing to it, you're not in a great position, regardless.
Harley here picks up another card, didn't get a great look at what it was. 3 mana. Here's Sanctum Prelate. Okay.
Alright.
What are you naming here? I hope we put a dice on it. What are you leaning for?
I'm leaning to hear it.
Oh, okay.
Because knowing Harley, he's just going to say it.
I have no idea what's going on out there. Alright, so Sean here casting a Brainstorm, I believe in response, putting some
Yes.
2 cards up. So is this an enter the battlefield trigger or is it as it enters?
As it enters.
So it has
he's
to
doing
be
it with on the stack.
Okay. So if he wants the swords here, and Harley has named 6.
Yep. About what I expect, but here's the swords.
Yep, I'm just gonna get rid of it. I think he might have been reaching for a dice. Get that in the exile pile. Mistveil Plane's gonna come in. He's gonna put it on the bottom.
I'll scream at them. For multiple reasons, actually.
Esconta here, he's just going to go ahead and leave it on top, pick up a new card. 2 cards up in Sean's hand at the moment, and the Esconta running yet again. Harley picks up, looks like another Plains. Sword of War and Peace, and the Sword of Fire and Ice in the hand.
Yeah, those are not that great when you can't really attack. You
Harley
have one
just-
creature, but it's not going to do much.
Harley's going to pass, which plays into the Esconta plan rather well. Sean picks up a Brainstorm from it, draws another card for turn. There's a Ponder.
Yep. He's able to just continue to shape his deck, shape his hand, do everything he wants to do.
Monastery Mentor in that stack. Looks like we're happy enough with that one at the moment.
Or he's still thinking.
Arid Mesa at the bottom. I think the middle card is one of the assorted cantrips. Might be a Brainstorm, might be a Predict. It is not a Portent because it is old bordered.
Yep.
Activate War and Peace in the hand. Harley. I assume we're going to slam in with that War and Peace.
Yep.
Did you hear what he said?
Yes, it's now our planes.
Pass Exile going to break that up right quickly, putting another Plains into play for Harley. Just what he wanted.
Yeah, he really just needed more lands at this point.
Oh, an Aether Vial!
One of the issues I have with taxes,
The reason I hate this card
it's...
is the reason I will never play a deck that plays this card. I had all the cards to play the 5-color Humans deck.
I will at some point play a deck with Aether Vial in it. I know this to be a fact, but boy, am I going to hate it every time this happens.
Sean here going to go ahead and put a Monastery Mentor down, leaving Island and Volcanic Island up. Taps his Mentor a couple times for good luck.
He just wants to make sure everyone knows he has a mentor.
I think there are a couple copies of Brainstorm in the hand, so we can make some monks at a moment's notice.
Yep.
1 mana. Here is Mother of Runes. We're going to equip it. Woohoo! Get that on there. Sean here thinking about a response. I think we're going to go ahead and go for a Brainstorm, a very shiny Brainstorm.
Very shiny Japanese Brainstorm.
3 cards in the grip, 2 going back here. Can't get a good look at any of the cards really in the hand at the moment. But I'm not sure really what anything is matters at this point. What are you looking for?
It's Odyssey Plains 333 if you're looking for the artwork.
For Lightning Plains?
Yeah.
Here's Tundra, so both equipments are on the Mother of Runes now. So Mom does check this Monastery Mentor at the moment. Next match, we're going to be seeing Miracles yet again, and it's going to be playing at Sneak and Show, I believe.
Yeah, it's Miracles versus Sneak and Show. Matchup that there's a lot of interesting things going on. It's a counterspell deck versus a counterspell deck, which is the type of legacy I really enjoy watching.
We're getting a nice close-up of the Kanye token by
It's not colored.
RK Post.
The one on the table is colored.
It is.
Which means
So, Engineered Explosives here came on 1 and got popped, and there's a 1-mana permanent still in play. Get that vial in the graveyard. They've caught it. They always catch it right when you're about to say it.
Yeah. They probably just hear me breathing a little bit, and I'm immediately like, what do I do? How do I stop this?
3 mana here. Here's Flicker Wisp. Is this one good enough? Will this do anything?
I mean, it'll kill a Kanye.
There have been 3 plows, 1 Path to Exile this game, I think. Yeah, but that's a pretty tall exile pile right now.
Yep, and one of them was snapped, so It's basically been Snap and then 3 Exile spells.
Yep.
Good time for Harley. He's probably been enjoying it.
I think he has.
Probably.
Flicker Wisp gets rid of one of the monks. It gets rid of the tapped one. Foolish. Now Shock and block. Ooh, the 5th exile effect, eh?
Oh, man.
Harley up to 24 here.
I imagine that life total is going to go down real quick, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
Ooh.
Ooh. Jace, huh? So, Prowess trigger on the stack. Harley's going to go ahead and attempt to remove one of the tokens. Sean looks like he's okay with that. So there is currently a total of 3, 4, 5 in play.
I feel like...
Jace, where are you going?
I feel like we're probably going to see an uptick on Harley, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see literally any other mode aside from Bounce.
What do you think of uptick myself?
I would not even be surprised.
Alright, Brainstorm here, nice and quick. 5 damage coming in, Harley down to 19. Back over to the side of all the planes. What do you got, Harley? What can your planes put into play? Ooh, Rashad Import.
There it is.
Ooh, Sword of Fire, nice. Alright, so we have 3 equipments. Ooh, not okay with that. Counterspell, get that sword out of here.
I am scared of this sword. It's sort of a powerful card.
Sort of, huh?
Yeah.
Harley, moving back to Sean's turn here. Is Kanto running Jace up, Monastery Mentor with 3 tokens? I don't think we're winning this game.
I don't think Harley's coming close to winning this game.
1 mana. We're going to... What happened? Oh, the port. Okay, I was very confused.
I was also a little confused, but it's fine.
There's another land down there. Sean looks like there's a portent in hand. Portent, my opponent. We see Sarah, Fetcher, Gideon, and Stoneforge Mystic. Sean is having way too much fun by portenting his opponent. We're going to slam in for a total of 6, 7, 8, 9 here, dropping Harley to 10. And this is a fast clock.
Oh, yeah.
Monastery Mentor is just as good as, like, Entreat for 7.
Yeah, Monastery Mentor is just such a good card in this deck. And
here comes Stoneforge Mystic and Snapcaster, and Harley's going to pick his stack of planes up and go home.
Alright, so we got the Adjustment Taxes lose matchup that it's reasonable to expect it to lose, and we also saw it win a matchup that it's kind of surprising to see it win. And it does kind of bring up the fact that we did kind of have skewed matchups for him because he's not supposed to be favored in either or, so it is kind of a testament to the Taxes deck that it did go 1-1 against 2 of its unfavored matchups in air quotes. But now we're going to go and see a little bit more of instead of the onboard interaction, we're going to get see more of the spell-based interaction that is common in Legacy of, I have this counterspell, you have this counterspell, I have this spell that I want to resolve, and all these other things going on.
And we're also going to see some very interesting things. How, on top of terminusing in response to when your guys are in play, that kind of thing is going to happen in this matchup. There are some very interesting plays that do happen in this matchup. I'm not sure, was Sean on a Caracas?
I'm pretty sure he should be on 1 Caracas.
There should. I'm going to assume there's 1.
I'm going to assume there is 1, but I cannot guarantee it. One thing I do want to preemptively mention is that while our Miracles player is
very versed
with this deck, our player on the other side is going to be slightly less experienced with the format and the deck he's playing. Also, no Caracas, it looks like.
No Caracas.
Which I think that's fine.
Yeah.
It helps a little bit, but I think that if Sean plays it carefully, which I imagine he will, he should be able to get this.
Usually you don't play Caracas in this list if you don't have any of your own main deck legendary permanents.
Yeah.
That matters.
I remember Sean did it. Sean even played this list when there was mainboard Venser, mainboard Vendilion.
With no Caracas?
No, with Caracas.
Okay. I mean, that was Lisette days, right? Like,
yeah.
All right, and then from the Sneak and Show match side, really kind of what you expect looking at this deck. Only, okay, there is 2. The second Omniscience hiding up in the corner. Only 3 Emeralds?
Yep, 3 Emeralds, 2 Omnisciences.
That's not how you say that.
1 Grizzledad.
It is how you say that.
Alright, and then everything else pretty much in 4s except for your 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Flusterstorms, and then a pretty normal sideboard for this deck.
Yeah. So, gonna go see this matchup. I'm not gonna call anyone to win this game. I think that either side can take it.
Oh, absolutely.
On side of players, I would vote for Sean, but
Josh here looks like we're on a one-lander. Brainstorm and Preordain in the mix. It looks like he's happy enough with it. Sean is going to go ahead and lead on an island and pass back. Flusterstorm to pick up from Josh, though.
Yeah. And I imagine we're going to see he should be firing off the Preordain.
Ooh, we're going for an end-of-turn Brainstorm, eh?
So,
how many reps did we give Josh with the card Brainstorm before this?
a couple. So, for those who may be a little less versed in Legacy, if there are any that are watching in chat, the reason that you don't want to lead on turn 1 Brainstorm, specifically off of a fetch land, is because let's just say you pick up no more fetch lands and you draw 3 cards and you don't draw another land, then you have to put back 2 non-lands on top of your library. And this means that you're not drawing another land guaranteed in your next 2 cards. Whereas if you cast the Preordain next turn, you see 2 non-lands, you can put them on the bottom, and then you draw a card.
Hold up.
What?
Sean also end-of-turn Brainstormed.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Why is it okay for him?
Because he was thinking about setting up this.
I really hope Josh responds to this with the Spell Pierce that's in his hand.
So, all right. Moreover, the fact that Josh is low on mana is more important here, because Sean probably is not low on mana.
I really, really do hope that Josh Spell Pierces this card.
Oh no, he's definitely he has Spell Pierce in the front of his hand. He's gonna Spell Pierce.
And it looks like he's getting an island over a Volk, because I don't think he realizes this is not a matchup where Wasteland's going to happen.
Yeah, like that's understandable.
Yeah.
He played against. I think he only played against Delver before this. So
Yeah, that's fair.
He's probably having flashbacks of days in Wasteland.
Yep. Spell Pierce going to take care of the counterbalance. Josh going to pick up another card here. Picks up another Brainstorm. So usually here, you need to find another land. You have 2 Brainstorms and a Preordain.
You cast the Preordain first.
I would agree.
Yeah. Like, I don't think there's a ton of argument the other way, and he sees 2 lands. I'm fine with both of those.
Island City. Yeah, we need the island at least.
You could definitely put the city on the bottom and
It depends on what you have.
Yeah, try to draw something better, but you're at least keeping the island.
A good point coming from the desk over there, though. Back to Basics is a card to consider.
Back to Basics
Miracles
is a
list.
thing to consider. That's something I did not mention because I was kind of getting focused on the fact that Sean is not currently on that version.
And we're also talking about Josh, who doesn't know enough about the format to think about that card.
It's one of those things where it's reasonable to assume that they're not on the counterbalance if they're also. I mean, that they're not on it because they're running counterbalance. There's only so many derpy enchantments you can play in your deck.
What are you talking about, man?
I mean, they're both really good enchantments, but.
Oh, I just mean, like, just play all your enchantments. So City of Traders looks like it did go to the bottom here. Another sneak attack being picked up from Josh. Brainstorm here. Do we find a fetch land? It looks like it's just Admirable, Preordain, and Island. Okay, Preordain's a good pickup because Preordain lets you bottom some of the bad cards.
Yeah, this is fine. He could have got punished for it, but I think that he didn't get the optimal Brainstorm, but he did not get really punished.
Well, we're not playing Opt.
Yeah, we're not. This format's better than that.
Sneak attack being pulled to the front of the card that he looks like he's going to want to put at the bottom. I would not actually be surprised to see, like, say, Grizzlebrand to go with it. Looks like he's going to get rid of a Brainstorm, though. But that's fine.
I think he has 2 cantrips in hand.
I think his hand is multiple sneak attacks, both the fatties. I think there's the show and tell in the grip. No, because the show and tells we have are the good print. It's not like the new one. So never mind on the show and tell.
So he just went ahead and did the thing where he put the 2 cards on top he didn't want, preordained them to the bottom.
There's Ancient Tomb, and here's one thing that's mattering here. That fetch land getting the island early means that Josh has no access to red mana, and all the lands he's found so far are island.
Yeah, so this is going to punish him quite a lot. He's not going to be able to cast his sneak attack to actually up the amount of ways he has to put his threats in play, which just leaves him with only his show and tells until he finds his red mana.
End of turn here, Sean going to use his fetch land to cast a Snapcaster Brainstorm. So we get another end of turn Brainstorm with no fetch. This is the 3rd one.
So it's really hard to explain why I'm at one point like, yeah, that Brainstorm was bad, and then a Brainstorm that looks almost identical as cast, I'm like, yeah, that Brainstorm was good.
So I understand.
Yeah, but Sean knows for sure that he's going to have another fetch land the next turn, shuffle at least 1 bad card. And at this point, he's thinking about the fact that he might be tapping out a lot of these turns, so he's trying to be as mana efficient as possible, which is why he's throwing out these awkwardly timed Brainstorms.
We need to find things to do also. Sean has a actual counterspell in hand, search for his Kanta, but I don't think he really has anything else really going on otherwise. There's a Ponder in the mix, but nothing free. So I think his only interactive spell he has right now is the actual counterspell, and that gets chucked by the Flusterstorm that Josh has if he is to pick up a Mountain Source.
Yeah, which does put Sean in kind of a weird spot, and this is kind of one of the things about Miracles in this matchup is that they don't have the most amount of counterspells. Like they run a high density of them for Legacy, but the fact that they have a low amount of counterspells total, and the fact that they don't really have a way of quickly pressuring, allows Josh to set up protection for his threat and to get his threat.
So Sean here going to go ahead and fetch yet again, cast a Ponder. We're on the hunt for Force of Will.
Yep, just looking for that Force of Will to go ahead and shore up the fact that his opponent cannot resolve any big threat, and there is a Force of Will at the top.
There's a fourth with a Predict and an Island. So that's actually a pretty good stack here, because the Island is a card that Sean will more than likely be able to remember.
Yeah. So he's going to pick up the Force, leave the Predict on top. Next turn he's going to be able to cast the Predict, draw 2 cards.
Another sneak attack.
So he is getting quite punished for his line of not getting the Volcanic Island.
Yep, Sean here just going to play his 5th land, attack for another 2. Josh going down to 16. Josh here picks up, looks like, another Preordain. All right.
That's fine. Like,
Cast Preordain. We see, what do we got? Show and Tell and another card. All right, Show and Tell's a good one.
Yeah, I like Show and Tell here. You're going to be able to try to do something. I believe that I saw a land there.
He's happy with both of them. I don't think it was a red X land. I think it might have been a blue card. Okay. But we're happy enough with the Show and Tell. And I think if he's happy enough with it, I think we might be trying to fire it off here. There's an Omniscience in the back of the hand. All right. So it's both Fatties, Omniscience, 2 sneak attacks, Show and Tell, and Flusterstorm.
So yeah, if this resolves, the game's over. And it...
Over under.
Anyways. So it's theoretically over. It could get met with a Terminus or something, but...
Predict... Well, if our Show and Tell resolves, we put an Omniscience in play.
Yeah.
And then we cast the...
No, it's fine.
It's over.
No,
the game will be over.
Like, he draws 14 cards, but oh well. Like, your counterspells are probably in the bottom.
14 castables?
14 well, no, they might not all be castables. There might be lands.
That's fair. We have not hit a lot of those yet.
We have not hit specifically red lands at this point. So, gotta see a counterbalance.
Yep. That's going to make it a lot harder for Josh to just slam his cards into play and try to win that way. But yeah, so say he leads on Show and Tell there. Sean has to go for his counterspell. He then Flusterstorms back, and then Sean has to use his Force of Will to not let it resolve. Then that means if Josh is able to pick up a red X land, Josh will be able to cast a sneak attack, which would more than likely resolve because there's not really a lot of force for the counterspell balance.
And Rentley, Josh was asking Sean how exactly Storm Sugar has worked with counterbalance. Kind of a little giveaway on what you might have, but here we are.
All right, so here's Show and Tell. So this sequencing is kind of awkward because you could have led on the Ponder. Ponder potentially also finds you a red source so you can do more different things.
And it also allows you to know whether or not you're going to just randomly get met by a Monastery Mentor on top of the library, because boy, would that feel bad.
Also just means that your Storm's better, because right now, Sean can pay for a Flusterstorm onto, because there's not a high enough Storm.
So...
Or no, he won't be able to, sorry.
Weird thing that's happening right now. Sean is choosing to counterspell the Show and Tell with the counterbalance sugar on the stack.
Hello? Alright, so Volcanic Island's on top, so Ponder will resolve. So Josh here will get to look at 3 cards. Looks like a Force of Will. Ooh, there's a Force on there too, so we could have forced this through if we did this first. Josh here going for a shuffle here. Those cards not good enough now that the Show and Tell didn't resolve. We need the red land again.
So this is just a really good example of how Legacy can be really punishing if you do not know how the format works.
Red land!
He has a red land. Neat. So he can theoretically cast his sneak attack next turn. And honestly, all jokes aside, that has a decent chance of being good enough.
But so if Sean just like passes for the rest of this game effectively, and just beats him down and just has this counterbalance with his Force of Will plus enough mana to probably
it's not good for Josh.
Storm.
It's not.
But I mean, Josh has 2, so if he plays 2 of them over 2 turns, it's more than likely going to resolve, but he will need another turn to be able to actually use it.
Yeah,
he only has 1 red source.
He needs to hit either another red source or another counterspell or something to make sure that he can get through the first one or activate the second one the turn it comes into play.
Red source counterspell, Show and Tell is even good. But here's Jason. That's going to make this really, really hard. Jason's going to Brainstorm. We're going to put on top the card that we think is most likely going to be cast from Josh's side. And if, like, say there's just a second Jason shot in his hand, it's just game.
So I'm curious to see what CMC gets put on top, because I can make guesses, but I also don't know exactly what spread Sean has in his hand.
Mm-hmm. What would you assume?
So I kept seeing him flick around a force well. I don't think that's what he ended up with, if he's considering the opponent having force well. If he has a 3-drop or a 4-drop, I imagine we're going to see that on top. Otherwise, we're probably going to see a 1-drop.
Yep, one the most likely there. Josh, you're going to pick up another card. Looked like something blue. Josh falling down to 9, going to go find his Volcanic Island.
Now, if Sean set up the 4, because he could get the read that there is a sneak attack in his opponent's hand, because his opponent's been sitting there not casting a bunch of cards every turn, and he's also been missing red mana, so you could logically assume that the reason that he's been doing that is because he, can't cast something in his hand.
All right. Josh picked up a Spell Pierce here, so he has a little bit more fight on the stack. So Josh going to fall down to 7. Here is a sneak attack. Sean, how would you like to respond? Trigger's going to go on stack. Force of Will pitches Portent. All right, so Force of Will is on the stack, targeting the sneak attack. Storm count is currently 2.
Alright, so Josh deciding that his sneak attack isn't that important here.
Okay. So you're going to take another turn, you're going to take another 2, you're going to fall down to 5, then you're going to you're going to pain yourself down to 2, or down to 3.
Yes.
Again, to cast it again.
Yeah.
Force too strong.
I'm sorry, Josh. I'm sorry.
Alright, Jace brainstorms. What do we see? Council's Judgment in the grip. It looks like Terminus as well. Terminus going under the Council's Judgment, it looked like. Plains the land for Sean. Ponder. I think we're going to be shuffling here more than likely, unless the third card is good enough. Looks like the third card was good enough.
Yep. So draws a card, puts Josh down to 5, and Josh now has to...
That's another red land. So if this resolves...
If this resolves, then
does Josh know the stack can go higher than 2?
Alright, let's not rag on him too hard. Let's let him be.
No, absolutely, but he hasn't been in the battlefield for so long.
Yeah.
And he's my normal target.
Yes. And this format's also just so different than standard, because the type of things that are happening right now don't happen in standard.
Oh, absolutely.
Not to say that standard doesn't have lines, they're just different types of lines.
Yeah, they're very different. They have very different style of their play to them.
Yeah.
But yep, Josh, you're going to fall down to 3. Sneak attack going to go onto the stack. Sean, what would you like to do? He knows his top card. I don't think it's a card that Counterbalance can counter the sneak attack with. Sean, in response, looks like we're going for Predict. Going to get rid of the top card of his own deck. Wow, how do you know? Picks up 2 more cards. Didn't want to show the Terminus, eh? No miracle?
No miracle. So he could have held that, and...
He picked up a Force of Will as the second to bottom card, though. But I don't think he has another blue card, so I think if he does it, he has to tap out for it. And if this resolves, Emrakul just kills Sean. Sean is at 14.
Sean is at 14, and the Emrakul does just straight murder him, so...
Maybe it'll attack Jace.
I hope not. Attacking Jace with a creature with Annihilator feels subpar.
Alright, so Sean here. Trigger on stack. We're going to go for the Force again. Force pitching Brainstorm. Sean down to 13.
Now, Josh.
I would like you to fight over this. But wait. So what's your Storm count at? Or Storm count is at 3. So Spell Pierce plus Flusterstorm is enough to counter this.
Yeah. So
I hope we do it in that order and not Flusterstorm first. Does it matter?
It matters enough.
Right. So Spell Pierce, the Forcible. Counterbalance trigger. See if is it a 1? It's a 5. That's fantastic. There's no fetch lands. There's no way to manipulate the deck at the moment. I think.
Flusterstorm and.
Yep, Flusterstorm that forces this. There's a 5 on top.
No,
nope.
It's 4. God, Harley.
Yeah, 7. 5, 7,
Alright. So this resolves.
Yep, sneak attack resolves.
And I think that Josh is going to get game 1.
He should. Fetch land, going to put him down to 2. Another Volcanic Island, and here comes Emrakul. And Sean concedes. All right. So, getting game 1 a little bit later than I think he should have.
Yeah.
But he ends up getting it.
So there were some definitely questionable plays on his side, but I do feel like, at least in game 1, that Josh does have enough of an advantage here just because he has the ability to end the game in one shot like we just saw, and Sean doesn't have the best ways to answer what exactly Josh is doing.
Not at all. All right, from sideboarding, I'm going to take Sneak and Show. I have a lot of experience playing this.
I'm going to take Miracles. I used to play this deck a lot. I'm a little less experienced with the version that doesn't play Sensei's Top, but I'll try.
All right. So, from your side.
Okay. From my side, you're going to bring in the Flush of Storms. You're going to bring in the Red Elemental Blast.
The Assorted Blasts.
The Assorted Blast. Your Snap Blaster Mage, and your Vendilion Click.
All right, so 7 cards.
7 cards. Your Swords Plowshares are laughably bad here. Your Council Judgment, just overwhelmingly medium, unless your opponent just goes, naked thing. Counterbalance is weird. You're going to leave it in, but it's kind of medium. You could cut down on some amount of Search for Us. You could cut down on a lot of Terminus. I forgot about that card.
You don't like Terminus at all?
Like, you can leave some in, but I don't like having a lot of Termini because, as we saw that game, it didn't really come down to the removal. It came down to a lot of the stopping what the opponent's doing. And Terminus is bad when you it's good against if they're trying to put in play a Emrakul with sneak attack, but if say they either Omniscience in an Emrakul or put in a Grizzlebrand, it's not that great.
So you're saying then you would go for get rid of the Council's Judgment, the 4 Swords of the Plowshares, 1 Search, 1 Terminus.
Yeah, actually just 2 Terminus.
Just 2 Terminus.
Yeah,
keep
just leave
one
all those alone, and then your Disruption's pretty good from the sideboard.
All right. From the Sneak and Show side, I would also expect his Red Blast effects.
Yep.
There's 2 cards to start us off. There's always this weird Surgical Extraction. I'm not sure how familiar Josh is with...
Surgical Extraction, I want to take a quick second and say it's a card that people overvalue in Legacy. It's only really good in certain matchups, and it's okay in other matchups.
Surgical Extraction is one of my least favorite cards, not because it's good or because it's too powerful. It's because it's a trap card.
It's well, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh. We don't
Irrelevant.
have trap cards. Well, actually, we do. We do have
card.
We don't have those.
We also have just Amonkhet Invocations. Those are Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh, those are Yu-Gi-Oh. So we have trapped and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Never mind. We are Yu-Gi-Oh. So, but Surgical Extraction is a card that a lot of people just overvalue in general, especially in this format.
Other than that, I would also expect to see the 2 defense grids come in.
Yes.
That type of effect is very good in this type of matchup, making it where your opponent can interact with you.
Yep. Anything other than that?
There's an argument for Through to Breach, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention, Defense Grid may be a card that people, even who are maybe familiar with this format, to a lesser degree, might not know exactly what it does. 2-mana artifact that Corey's bringing up right now. It prevents, basically in this matchup, it's going to make it so Sean cannot cast counterspells on Josh's turn, because any spell that would be cast on the other player's turn costs 3 additional. This is a global effect. The way I explain it's awful, but there's the actual card on the screen.
During each player's turn, spells played by another player cost an additional 3.
Yeah.
Yep. Sean's opening hand here looks like there is a Jace Force of Will, Ponder. Pretty good to start here. Predict and some other lands look at the top cards, though. And moving back to Josh, looks like there's a Brainstorm, Show and Tell, Sneak Attack, Grizzlebrand, and a Lotus Petal. So we're not very far off of doing something. And there is an Ancient Tomb along with another land. I hope Josh keeps both of these.
So he's choosing to only take the Ancient Tomb. That's
fine.
I don't really mind that much.
So here, Josh has the ability to go for just a turn 2 Show and Tell. Picks up another island here, but
yeah,
the Sneak Attack.
So I'm not the biggest fan of going for just the turn 2. Here's my threat. Wait, does he even have anything?
He has a Grizzlebrand.
He has a Grizzlebrand.
Grizzlebrand is one of the better.
I still don't like just throwing out here.
I usually am a big fan.
Let's see, whatever. Standard when I was learning to play a lot of Commander. I immediately caught you kind of explaining that you're doing...
Yeah. Sorry, just going ahead taking the moment to read that message, but
No, definitely are trying to explain some of the things in Legacy because we realize that not everyone that's going to be watching this really knows this format. It's not really a widely played format. And it's always good to have even people who don't play these type of formats watching it. And it's kind of an interesting thing to watch. And
your Eternal formats are going to have a lot of cards that you're just not used to playing with.
yeah.
And you just get to see some of the power of some of these older cards. When you talk about Standard, you just talk about like the best creatures, your Scarab Gods, your assorted energy cards. The creatures are the main value. But when you talk about your Eternal formats, you're more looking towards these very powerful spells. Your
Very
storm
powerful
cards.
or efficient. Like, it's a lot of efficiency, a lot of going over the top. Like, it's all about how big can I go, how efficient can I go, and how can I do this quickly. Unless you're Sean, in which case you're like, how can I do all of these things slowly?
All right, so Josh did go for the turn 2 show and tell, which got met by a Pyroblast. Sean here is going to go ahead and main phase of Vidillion Click, seeing a hand of Brainstorm, Sneak Attack, Grizzlebrand, Lotus Petal, and a couple lands. He takes a Brainstorm out of it. Josh immediately
Draws the brain.
draws a Brainstorm.
So that was, I do like that play from Sean's side.
Absolutely.
At this point, Josh needs more ways to filter his hand. He did kind of get punished, in air quotes, by Josh just picking up the exact card that he put away, but that happens.
I would not be surprised to see Josh wanting to just fire that off with his fetch land here.
I like firing it off when your opponent's tapped out, if it's important to you.
Because if, say, he just finds something like Forcible and another blue card, he can put away these 2 islands and run out a Sneak Attack this turn, which is likely to resolve here.
Well, I found out the card, seriously, thanks so much. Well, yeah, we are always happy to try to, go in depth, because we've all been that new player that's watching a video and just like, what are these cards doing? The commentators aren't really, they're just like, yeah, the opponent casts a show and tell, they're going to do this, this, this. It helps when someone's able to take the time and kind of explain exactly what these cards do.
And well, for the most part, like everyone in our group is obviously going to be familiar for this
I hope so.
There aren't a lot of players that, well, there's just a lot of people that watch Magic for their first time, and especially with Arena coming out with NDA, there's going to need to be more explanation of things, because you'll get like, I know some popular Hearthstone streamers have been playing Magic Arena because there's different reasons for that.
Yeah.
And that will need, the issue with Magic is it's a lot harder to just pick up.
Oh yeah, Hearthstone in comparison a lot easier to pick up. That being said, we're going to see the show and tell.
Yeah, but another show and tell.
Force and Willed.
But Josh has the
Bam.
Sneak Attack, and he fetched away 2 islands, so Josh's hand is actually pretty good. Emrakul, Grizzlebrand, Sneak Attack, Lotus Petal.
Yeah, so if he can resolve and activate the Sneak Attack next turn and draw 7 cards.
So here's Jason. The only other card Sean has right now is a Predict, so he needs to find a Forcible if he wants to protect himself, and I don't think he has
He
it.
needs to find exactly Force and then a blue card to be able to protect himself, and at this point, from Josh's side, you want to do it this turn because it doesn't really get any safer than this.
There is no safer, yeah. And he has the Lotus Petal, so if he puts a Sneak Attack in play with the Lotus Petal and just goes ahead and throws an Emrakul at his opponent, that's pretty much lethal because he has the Grizzlebrand lined up here. And yep, here's 4 mana, here's Sneak Attack. That's going to resolve.
Yep, and at this point, he should go on and put in the Grizzlebrand.
Yep, and that's enough for Sean to go ahead and concede. And we're going to see Sneak and Show taking this matchup 2-0, which is what I kind of expect. This matchup is generally favorable.
It's what I expected. There was some room for Sean to take it just on the fact that he is more familiar with the matchup, but there's only so far that goes when your opponent's throwing down a 15-15 Annihilator 6 with haste.
All right. Real quick, I did want to go because our friend in the chat that's been giving us all these praise did want to real quick ask just what each of the decks are trying to do today.
Okay,
so if you want to take just start from the top and we'll just move each other.
All right. So Death and Taxes is basically a deck that plays a bunch of creatures that affect how your opponent casts spells, affect how they activate abilities, prevent them from doing these things, and play lands which either destroy the opponent's lands or prevent them from using them. So they can kind of prevent the opponent from enacting their game plan, and they beat down with 1 mana 1/1s, 2 mana 2/1s, etc. It's just a creature deck that has a lot of disruption in it for the opponent's unfair things they might be doing.
For the Elves deck, it's generally a mono-green deck with a couple black cards in its sideboard. You have your 1-mana Elves, which produce mana via Deathrite Shaman and Heritage Druid, which give you a lot of value for having a larger amount of Elves in play.
Yep.
You then get to use cards like Gaia's Cradle, which tap for a mana for each creature you control, to power out very powerful things like Craterhoof Behemoth, Natural Order for Craterhoof Behemoth, or Glimpse of Nature turns, which you churn through a ton of your deck to have a
And
very
Glimpse
high
of Nature
value.
is just a 1-mana spell that says whenever you cast a creature this turn, you draw a card. That card's pretty good.
And a question, see that in Modern too, I believe that was to the Death and Taxes side.
Uh,
you do see a variant of Death and Taxes, and you'll see it a lot on our stream whenever we play Modern.
You'll see it a lot. It's missing some very important cards that Legacy has, such as Wasteland, which can destroy non-basic land.
Mm-hmm.
So
From Miracles.
from Miracles is just basically a deck. It's blue and white. You have a bunch of ways to filter through your deck with draw spells. Have a bunch of counters, well, not a bunch, but you have enough counter spells to handle what your opponent's doing, some removal spells, some board wipes, and then you just try to win with a 3-mana 2/2 that gets pumped whenever you play a spell and makes more 1/1s that get pumped. Or Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is just the most powerful Planeswalker that's been printed.
Let's wait just a moment to do the match. We're doing a little bit of explanation for the stream, and then I'll give you guys the go ahead in a second.
So Miracle's just basically a blue-white control deck that has some tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go and switch over to Sneak and...
For Sneak and Show, you just saw it put its game plan. Its primary cards are Sneak Attack and Show and Tell. Show and Tell, 2 and a blue. Each player puts a creature, artifact, land, or enchantment from their hand into play. You put very powerful creatures like Emrakul the Aeon Storm or Grizzlebrand into play, and then run away with the game. Sneak Attack does a similar thing. 3 and a red, enchantment. You can pay a red to put a creature from your hand into play. It gains haste, sacrifice at end of turn. There's a question in there.
So Miracles, all right. Miracles has gone through a lot of deck names. It originally had a different name. It's gone through a lot of names. Once Absent Sword came out and the Miracles mechanic was introduced, that's when it became known as Miracles.
And it's known as Miracles specifically for 3 Terminus and occasionally 1 to 2 Entreats.
It's been going off of Entreat the Angel since the card Sensei's Divining Top has been banned in Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
That card's a little bit worse when you can't reliably set it up. So I'm gonna go over to Dragon Stompy because this is gonna be something.
We're about to see that one on.
This one's gonna be a bit confusing because of the name.
The 0 dragons.
This deck has no dragons in it. Basically, it's a deck that the reason it's called Dragon Stompy is it's a mono red deck that's trying to lock your opponent out of casting spells. It used to run dragons in it as the main win condition, and since then has kept its name Dragon Stompy, even though it doesn't run dragons.
With much better win conditions coming out via Chandra Torture Defiance, Hazaret, Fiery Confluence.
You're running 8 of an effect, which makes all of your opponents, not all of your opponents, all non-basic lands are now mountains, which messes up a lot of the mono bases in Legacy. And then you're playing cards like Chalice, which prevent your opponent from casting spells. You're playing Ensnaring Bridge, which prevents your opponent from attacking. And then you just have these efficient win conditions.
And to say what it is right there, the keyword Stompy kind of just determines these decks that are trying to extend the game, interact with your opponents on ways that they can't fight back, and put large creatures into play. In my opinion, calling this deck Dragon Stompy is ridiculous. This deck should be being called Mono Red Prison, because this deck is Mono Red Prison.
I mean, you're not wrong. That's exactly what it is, but here we are, and that was the last one we have is Eldrazi.
Which is very similar to this deck. Instead of employing the Blood Moon and Planeswalker strategy
And Ensnaring Bridge.
and Ensnaring Bridge, you get access to all of these 2-mana lands through Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Eye of Ugin, Eldrazi Temple, and you get to power out Eldrazi's that ran rampant through Modern before Eye of Ugin was banned. It plays a very similar game plan, but a much better one in Legacy.
All right, so we're going to go and get to the game if that works for everyone, and I'm going to go and let the players know that they are good to go. All right, you guys are good to start whenever.
All right. So here we're going to have Dragon Stompy versus Sneak and Show.
Do they not have their headphones on?
I'm not sure. Nathaniel, who do you think's favored here and why?
No, I think that they heard me. So, this matchup's weird. Alex has a lot of ways to mess with what Josh is doing. His Chalices are good. His Magus of the Moons and Blood Moons can be good, depending. And his Ensnaring Bridges make it really hard for Josh to win. But he has to hit those things, and Josh does have enough counterspells and enough win conditions.
Josh is a turn 1 Grizzlebrand.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like Josh here, but one thing that's awkward, so he turn 1 cast this Show and Tell, right?
Yes! Yes!
That's exactly what I was about to say. Now, Corey, could you possibly pull up Josh's deck list on the side here?
Just to make sure for anybody.
Yeah, Josh's deck list on the side. On the side, if possible.
Show and Tell.
All right.
Let's both players put a creature, enchantment, land, or artifact into play. Josh would like to put his Grizzlebrand into play, which is a 8-mana 7/7 flying lifelink that you can pay 7 to draw 7. Alex would like to put an ensnaring bridge into play, which says creatures with power less than or greater than the cards or in hand.
Yep. So, looking over at Josh's sideboard, which I was pretty sure on, but I just want to double check, Josh just lost. He actually cannot win.
He cannot win game 1 anymore unless Alex plays no cards.
Unless he plays no cards, in which case Josh can still only attack for 7. Alex would have to play no cards for 3 turns in a row.
Yes. Josh had his potential best start.
Yep.
I think the only better thing that he could have done is like put an early sneak attack in. But yeah, what we're going to see is something that happens a lot in Legacy. Legacy has hosers. There are cards that just straight up point at a player and say, you don't get to play.
So, here's the thing about... I'm going to take a second to describe this whole thing that happened a little bit more, so that way it's not just like Josh is completely lost. The turn 1 show and tell is actually one of the riskier plays in this deck, in this format, if you don't know what your opponent's playing.
Yep.
Because let's just say we're not even playing Ensnaring Bridge. Let's just say we're playing against the mirror match. You put in your Grizzlebrand,
They put in their Emrakul.
They put in Emrakul. What do? You lose. There are just so many things that if your opponent puts in, you just lose.
And we definitely don't mind giving the just in case. I mean, in all honesty, I think Nathaniel and I like talking.
I mean, I like talking when I'm streaming. I don't like talking to people. Yeah, no, it's one of those things that like to kind of just have the sidebar just to show the point that Josh does not have outs,
mm-hmm.
and B, allow people to see what I'm like screaming about.
Josh here deciding what discards he wants to give, and now Alex gets to play.
Now,
what do you think? Do you think Alex is going to put a card into play?
He's definitely going to put a card in play.
Maybe he won't. Aw, darn! Or game plan has been ruined.
So, now, like...
Chromax put a Rabble Man under
the one thing that is kind of awkward is Alex has to find Chandra to win through.
He has a Chandra in his hand.
He has a Chandra in
His
hand.
opponent doesn't have a Force. But it looks like Josh is going to go back to his turn. Flusterstorm in the hand, a bunch of other cards that have no effect on this game.
So, this is one of those situations. Josh just doesn't know the format, doesn't know his deck, doesn't know his opponent's deck. So he doesn't realize exactly how bad this situation is for him.
So, amusingly enough, Josh actually... Well, so now we're in a weird situation where, so if Alex just cast his Ensnaring Bridge on his turn 1, do you think this game would probably be the same?
I mean, if he casts it, there's a chance it gets countered. But if he casts it resolved, then yeah, it's literally the exact same.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, as far as Legacy goes, there are a lot of recent cards that actually are very, very powerful. Chandra Torch of Defiance, as you see here, is a very powerful card for these red slow decks.
Chandra Torch of Defiance has been a card that gives so much to a lot of modern and legacy decks, because prior to this...
There we go.
Yep.
Alex catching him. That's not how the Force of Will works.
Yeah, that's fair.
All
right, so that Chandra did get countered.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm gonna just go and give a spoiler here. The only way that Alex has to beat this Grizzlebrand in play is to resolve his Chandra and to ultimate his Chandra and to kill Josh.
But he doesn't have to ultimate. He just has to tick it up and never cast it.
He can't get either way, the end result is he has to play the Chandra. He only plays 4 Chandras. Now there's one other way that he wins, which is the fact that Josh has drawn a lot more cards.
Josh has drawn 7 more cards than his opponent?
More than 7 because he's preordained.
Decking is actually his win condition right now?
Like, at this point, Josh is going to lose by decking or Chandra. If all 4 Chandras get cast, I might actually just ask Josh to scoop. Like, that's...
Like if all of them get... No, we'll be here... Maybe he wants this round to go to time, and it to be counted as an 0-0-1, because that's better for his record.
Sure. Like... If he really wants to just, like, scum out the draw and this stream, then yeah, go crazy, man.
Right, a billion lands over from Alex, effectively. There's another one. And just nothing happening. I'm telling you, man, all Josh needs is Alex to draw 5 cards and not play any of them.
I'm sorry. But yeah, that's a pretty good win condition from Alex's side. I mean, from Josh's side, his opponent just forgets.
Yeah, that he has game actions.
Like, Alex just falls asleep for a
Oh,
couple
I see
turns.
what happens here. Josh casts multiple ancestral recalls targeting Alex.
Josh is like, I'd like to suspend 4 ancestral visions. Pass. Alex just like, well, shoot.
Well, I guess I'm gonna draw 12 on one turn.
And then he just goes, Chalice on
Exile
0.
exile all my simian spirit guides.
Chalice on 0 would be the best, though, at that point.
That
Yeah.
would be great. Well, there is a chalice.
I mean, Chalice probably gets hit on 1. Yep.
Josh has a bunch of assorted sneak attack cards in his hand. Alex plays some Chrome Moxes, which don't do anything, and I don't think he's gonna have 7 cards.
No, I don't think he is. I think that Josh isn't going to be able to attack or something.
Well, now, maybe he's looking for the Cunning Wish that isn't in his deck, because he's seen people occasionally play Cunning Wish in this deck.
He's like, well, if I get my Omniscience, then I can do things.
Yeah. How far are we from hard casting Omniscience?
Omniscience is 4 blue?
Yeah.
We're
We
here.
have it this turn.
We just cast it. Oh, man.
Whew.
Alright. So you can cast an Omniscience, and then, I don't know.
Oh
Do
my
something.
gosh. One, two. Yep. Josh going to go down to 4 here. 10 mana. Omniscience. Alex is like, okay. I would like to cast my 4th Chrome Mox.
So I actually like my Alex side holding one because of the Hazrat, as he just said, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Ooh, a brainstorm. Ooh, we're gonna pay mana for it, eh? Oh, it's gonna resolve, huh?
Alright, so let me explain why that entire turn sequence was wrong. Josh has a card that allows him to pay 0 mana to cast any spell from his hand. He chose to pay 1 mana, and Alex has a card that counters any 1-drop. Which was incorrect from both sides. Alright. Whoa. Andrew's laugh destroyed the size of the text in the chat. I can't read.
Oh my god.
I am the ultimate CCG bot. My basic command is answering Oracle text.
Josh kills himself with Ancient Tombs.
Okay.
Alright, so we're gonna go into game 2.
Alright, so I want to take a moment to at least defend one of the people in that whole scenario. I think Alex just kind of checked out because he knew the game was over.
Yeah. Sideboard. Alright. From the Sneak and Show side, I would expect to see the 2 Abrades come in. Alright. And the Wipe Away. 2 Abrades, 1 Wipe Away. Potentially the Through the Breaches.
Yeah.
So, Show and Tell is I don't know if Josh is on top of this enough, though. Show and Tell is an awkward card in this matchup because of exactly Ensnaring Bridge. So,
let's not talk about, for the sake of just the people watching, let's not talk about whether or not Josh is on top of it when we're talking about sideboarding from this point onward.
So 2 Through the Breach, 1 Wipe Away, and 2 Abrades are what I would bring in. I would cut 2 Show and Tell. The 2 Omniscience, because they only really work with Show and Tell. You want to take those out if you're taking Show and Tells out. And then 1 or some number of the copies of Flusterstorm. I think going down to 1 is probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
There are not actually. Are there any cards in Flusterstorm counters?
Exactly 4.
Fiery Confluence.
Fiery Confluence.
Okay, so we want to take 2 Flusterstorms out, 2 Omniscience, and 1 Show and Tell. For the 2 Abrades, the Wipe Away, and the 2 Through the Breaches. Mono Red, what do you want to do over there?
You bring in... Alright, the only card I see that's super tempting is a Sorcerer Spyglass. It can hit Sneak Attack, and if it doesn't hit Sneak Attack, you can sometimes just get some fetch lands, which is fine. Aside from that, I'm seeing more than 2 cards, so the only other card that I could see as a consideration is Scalp Clan Berserker.
Yep.
If you're trying to switch gears and play an early Scalp Clan and make your opponent's game plan a little more awkward.
All right. I think you have to mod the bot. Okay. So it looks like he's looking at 6, but I think he's double checking. I would definitely want the Sorcerer Spyglasses.
Sorcerer Spyglass.
Also, just naming Grizzlebrand.
Naming Grizzlebrand is another thing that I did not mention, but if you name Grizzlebrand, that kind of just makes a 7-mana, 7/7 flying lifelink, which is weird as it sounds to say that's bad. It's bad.
It's not good enough. Not good enough for Legacy.
Not good enough. So they're gonna go and take a second, and this is also Alex's first time playing the deck sleeved, or at least this version. He's played Mono Red Prism in the past, but not this exact version. It looks like he picked out... I forgot to say what he took out, but he's taking out some Blood Moons.
Yep.
They're not very great here.
Blood Moon is not necessarily a card that he needs in this matchup. The creature Blood Moon is actually in this type of matchup better than the non-creature
Because
Blood Moon.
at the very minimum can attack.
Yep.
Which is something.
So we're going to be moving into game 2 here. Josh is going to be on the play. My throat hurts.
Yeah, that's fair. Probably went a little overboard on laughing, but here we are.
Dude, that was hilarious to me.
I always feel bad for Josh. Like, we all appreciate you, Josh. He's not gonna get this far in the stream. He's gonna like listen to it a little bit back.
He's gonna like see. He's gonna get to like the miracle stuff and be like, "Oh, this was pretty bad. They're kind of hitting on me, so I think I might stop." And it's like, buddy, you thought that was bad.
He gets to like the first turn of. No, there were so many. He gets to the first turn of the Miracles matchup. Are you kidding me? That brainstorm. Yeah, we are located in America, in United States specifically. That's it. He asked a question.
Yeah.
I will.
I saw the question.
I will answer most questions.
Yeah, and Corey here is going to specify it to Virginia.
Thank you, Corey.
Josh here is going to go ahead and play a turn 1 Volcanic Island, Brainstorm, and a Spell Pierce in hand.
Yep.
Opponent going to go ahead and go Ancient Tomb into Chrome Mox. Chrome Mox more than likely going to resolve here. If we're Spell Piercing whatever this plays. And it looks like whatever it plays would be a Trinisphere here. Josh does have another turn to Show and Tell, which would put Grizzlebrand into play if it does resolve. And here is the 3-ball. And Josh not okay with that.
Yep. That's just going to go and get met with Counterspell. That's fine. You kind of expect that.
Mm-hmm. So, are you Show and Telling here?
I mean, yeah.
I think you define a sandwich by something with meat or some sort of substance between bread. So technically, I would say yes to a hot dog being a sandwich.
I'm not. Alright.
But alright, is Snaring Bridge again going to be met here? What phase are we in? What? 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 Well, hold up!
Why can't the goblin attack?
How many cards are in your hand?
Anyways.
So, alright. Goblin Rabblemaster, for anyone that might not be familiar there. 2 in a red, 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you create a 1/1 goblin token with haste. All your other goblins have to attack, and then when it attacks, it gets +X with 0 equal to your goblin count. So, what happened there is Alex tried to be tricky, and his trick was wrong.
Yeah. He should have just cast main phase 2.
Yep.
And we're going to see... What?
So there was a polluted delta that was put into play?
Okay.
What land is in Josh's? I think we just figured it out, though. But, yeah.
Okay.
We need to get rid of that city.
We're gonna
but I think we're going to float 2, and I think he has a wipe away.
He does have a wipe away. So we could definitely see a wipe away here, just targeting that.
Yep. And then Grizzlebrand will be able to draw a ton of cards to be able to counter it on the way back down. More than likely.
It gets to draw almost his entire deck, and that 7 life that was gained off of Alex just kind of given Josh.
He wanted to be cute.
There are better ways.
He wanted an extra 1/1. Real sandwich discussion.
So I did hear something about your description of sandwich.
Yes.
You did say it had... What was your description of the sandwich?
Bread.
Okay.
Some substance between the bread.
Okay, then. And that's it?
That's pretty much what I classify as sandwich.
Then yeah. Like, All these things are sandwiches in the grand scheme of things. But do you know what's not a sandwich?
What?
This matchup.
Okay.
Because it's magic. And there's no bread here.
There's no ham sandwiches?
We do not have Caleb here. There is no bread.
No honey wheat?
No honey wheat bread.
I believe Josh found a Force of Will and a blue card, so he is able to play through H Ensnaring Bridge coming down here, and I think you gotta counter that one.
Yeah.
A sandwich is a food, typically consisting of vegetable, sliced cheese or meat, placed on or between slices of bread, or more generally, any dish wherein 2 or more pieces of bread serve as the container or wrapper for another food type.
Alright, so we're just... I want to just abandon this conversation. I just want to abandon it. I'm not gonna leave the joke I was gonna make it behind, but
No.
I'm gonna abandon it.
Let's go. What's a joke? I want to know.
I want to abandon it like my father did me.
Oh, okay. That's where we were going. I thought it was going to be like a good sandwich pun.
No,
it was just depressing. But all right, Josh going to go ahead and pick game 2 up off the back of Wipe Away being able to put a counter spell, and the extra 7 cards that the Goblin Rabble Master gave him didn't really end up mattering.
It didn't matter, but at the same time, it definitely should have happened. So we have seen, admittedly, some sloppy plays on both sides, and some matter more than others. That causes Nathaniel only eats.
What was that? Air, sadness, and sadness? I mean, that is what you eat. I have seen your diet.
Yeah, that's fair. That's basically my diet. I don't smoke, though.
Yep, they are currently 1-1. I'm looking up a picture, and I'm going to try to send it to you, and I want you to pull it up.
And me?
No, to Corey.
That boy. Alright. So, Alex got me on the play here, and gonna get to see more of this matchup that, honestly, is just kind of like, yeah.
Here's a Chromax. Chromax putting Simian Spirit Guide under it.
Yeah,
3
he'll probably
mana.
be back
Here's
soon.
a turn 1 bridge.
It's been like 20 years, but he'll probably be back soon.
Here, Corey, I'm sending this to you on Facebook. If I can find you. Sorry, this is very important.
Hasn't
We're a very serious stream, as
all
you
of
guys
these
have
ensnaring
realized.
bridges, though?
I've sent it.
Alright, so we have an ensnaring bridge in play. This is
So bridge is in play, Brainstorm getting cast from one side.
So, this is actually, I'm actually happy to answer an actual Magic question here, in the form of everyone knows what everyone is playing at this point, and when we're doing stream, everyone has the ability to look at the full 75. Most of the time, people don't look at the full 75, but they at least know what's going on, and because they know what the opponent's playing, they all know Legacy well enough to know what exactly the opponent's probably playing. And we're probably eventually going to switch over to a format which means that the players won't even know what the other person is playing, at least the first few rounds.
And that's going to be...
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So you mean like moving into a tournament series?
Yeah.
More so than posting.
Yeah.
I also think there's some other discussion that I was having with like some weird formats ideas that we could do. Like letting everybody know ahead of time. The thing I was mentioning where like we all know we're 60s and
yeah, like there's gonna be more things going on, but you guys will know about it at least a week beforehand.
Chalice here on 1 going to make it even harder for Josh to potentially win. Okay, Nathaniel. Is this a sandwich?
It's a mistake.
Is this a sandwich, Nathaniel?
Yeah, man. It fits all the confines of a sandwich. It is cleanly defined as a sandwich, and it almost looks like the exact same floor from the picture of the Kanye West. I imagine it was the same person.
Pretty high right now. Thinks that is also an abomination.
All right, so
Sglab Clan Berserker. Alex asking if Josh is familiar.
I would not fault anyone for not knowing what this card does.
I played Standard during this time. Paul, is this a sandwich? Give me a yay. Man, how do I do this? How do I do this, Paul? Pulling Twitch up.
All right. We were not distracted at one point, but we are there now. Just full on distracted.
So I type to say it's a sandwich, I'm typing 0. Great. I have to, like, vote? Oh, that's my own voice.
Dude, I don't know how this works. I'm just going to type a thing.
Do I just type 1 or do I type vote 1?
Dude, I don't know.
Ooh, Nathaniel's on my side.
Wait, what?
You typed... Oh, no, wait, I'm
1 is no.
I'm confused.
Which card does Alex have in play?
Alright.
Alex has Scab Clan Berserker. Scab Clan is hyphenated.
Yes.
And here it is. 1 red, red, 2 haste. Renowned 1. Renowned, not a mechanic. That was very good. Not very well renowned.
No, it was not a very well-known mechanic. But this card does see some legacy play because it hoses some decks.
Yes, it is very good in some matchups. It is when it is renowned. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, if it is renowned, it does 2 damage to that player. So it has the Eidolon effect on all cards, one-sided, but only if it connects. But in the matchups where it's good, it will always connect.
I played against this card in 2 formats. And it was good against me both times. Apparently I like spells.
In that standard?
Standard and legacy.
I loved it in that standard. To ya! Cool Lotus Petal. So, what is Josh's out? Wipe Away plus Grizzlebrand attack?
Wipe Away plus Grizzlebrand attack or Emrakul attack. Just Wipe Away.
Okay, so we have Wipe Away. That costs double blue. So we have to use all of this.
You'll have 1 colorless floating.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, so an Emrakul attack here is actually really good. That gets rid of the board.
Yeah, it gets literally rid of the board.
Yep. So Josh falls down to 3 here, though. Okay. So now Emrakul comes in. Emrakul is going to take care of all the permanents on Alex's side. Does Alex have enough to rebuild and put this Ensnaring Bridge back in play?
I'm not sure, but if Josh isn't able to find another threat, he will have time. Hello?
It's clearly a sandwich. 1 vote.
Hello?
It won by 1 vote.
No. What?
What?
Was Alex at 30 life?
How is Alex at 30?
I don't know. He's at 15 now.
There's no way that he gained life. Yeah, Alex is definitely at 5. And here's Emrakul again, and that's just good enough. No need to worry about it there. All right. So we see Josh getting that matchup 2-1 after a pretty upsetting game in game 1. Bringing in cards to be able to interact with the card in Ensnaring Bridge, oddly enough, going to be good enough to give him the W.
Basically, what I kind of in brief said, but between all the sandwich talk. So now we're going to get to see back-to-back Justin on Eldrazi Stompy, a deck that has made me want to stop playing Legacy multiple times. So
this deck got really popular after Oath of the Gatewatch came out, oddly enough, because most of the cards are from Oath of the Gatewatch. But when Eldrazi Winter was happening in Modern, some players thought, is this better if we use City of Traders and Ancient Tomb? Oddly enough, it is.
So as it turns out, the cards from Oath of the Gatewatch were good enough if you combine them with the cards from other sets that allow you to cast them for cheaper or to have more mana for them.
Lands that produce 2 mana at minor drawbacks, which let you just cast these colorless, powerful creatures, which their drawback is supposed to be they require colorless mana.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's one of those weird spots where something that's meant to be a drawback creates an archetype. A really good example would be something you know a lot about. Dredge was supposed to be a mechanic that punishes you for bringing back the card. Boy, is that wrong.
Yeah, so we're going to see these decks going against each other. One side being Ensnaring Bridge and Trinisphere effects at Blood Moon, and Blood Moon's going to have a very big effect in this match.
There are a lot of cards that are actually going to have a lot of effect here. Blood Moon's going to have a lot. Fiery Confluence is going to have a lot of impact.
Ooh, I'm going to need that Oracle again. It's been a while.
Hazoret is, as it turns out, a 5/4 indestructible creature. It's pretty good.
Yep. From the Eldrazi side, like, their cards actually don't matter all that much. All Is Dust has the ability to matter in some games.
You continue talking. I'm gonna turn off my mic for a brief second.
Josh, we gave you a hard time.
And Thought-Knot Seer is a powerful card. All Is Dust has the ability to be very good, but otherwise, like, the majority of these cards don't really have that much of an effect in this type of matchup. I think at least game 1, the Mono Red Stompy is going to be favored, and I think even after game 1, it's also still going to be favored because a lot of the cards that he has access to just really don't matter. Let's go ahead and get down to the games because I think they're already playing.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think that this is going to be a matchup where we should, in theory, see Eldrazi lose, but there's a chance that they're able to take it with their efficient features.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to be moving down to the battlefield, and we see Alex has started on Mountain plus a City of Traders here, and it looks like we're going after a Goblin Rabblemaster. All right.
Yeah, that's
Rabblemaster going to throw a Goblin at this Eldrazi Mimic, which was cheat casted off of an Eldrazi Temple. Justin picks up another card. If we have another Soul Land here, we have the ability to Thought-Knot Seer and throw in with the Eldrazi Mimic 4/4. Are these gray proxies?
No.
There's not a lot of color on that temple.
No, it's colored.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's just how it looks. Because the entire deck...
Chalice on 1. 1 mana card check. Is it 0? Sure is 0.
It should definitely be 0.
All right, 4 mana here from Alex. Here is Chandra. Chandra's going to go ahead and take care of this Eldrazi Mimic, and Alex is going to be able to swing here for a total of 6 off the Goblin Rabblemaster.
Yep, as it turns out, Rabblemaster races pretty quick.
Oh yeah, that card was one of my favorite cards when
Justin spent his turn 2 casting nothing, and Alex spent his turn 3 casting a 4-mana Planeswalker. That's
this
really
is
good.
huge, though. Justin actually picked up a Simian Spirit Guide here, so he can cast an All Is Dust.
Hey, that's pretty good.
All Is Dust gets rid of the whole board. All players sacrifice all colored permanents. Lands being colorless means that All Is Dust said destroy Goblin Rabblemaster and Chandra, and Alex's left was no plays here.
So Justin might actually be able to take this one back. Also, this card that wasn't mentioned in Great to Tell when we were talking about the matchup, but it can be very impactful as we just saw.
Mm-hmm. If it gets around the Blood Moon side of the deck, it has the ability to be very, very powerful. Ayabugan coming down as a land after a Mishra's Factory, and here comes Thought-Knot Seer, and we're going to see a grip from Alex of Trinisphere Rabblemaster, Fiery Confluence, Piakira Nalar, Chandra Torch of Defiance, and a Chalice of the Void.
So this hand is 1 soul land away from being...
Very, very good.
Yeah.
And that's why Chandra has to be the pick here, because Chandra has a very clean answer to Thought-Knot Seer. Justin here going to go ahead and attack in with his Mishra's Factory, and Alex is no more.
Yeah, I think that at that point you're fine to scoop it up, that Justin's pretty far ahead, and unless you find a soul land that turn, I think that you should actually stay in on 1 more turn.
Yeah, definitely.
But Alex won for preemptive concessions.
All right, which Stompy deck do you want to summon?
I'm on the right side, and I've played this deck before.
All right, Dragon Stompy, where are we?
All right, so your Braids are actually pretty good here. They answer whatever artifacts they might have, and they can be a removal spell.
Okay.
In a pinch. Yeah, that's it. Because the Sorcerer Spyglass doesn't really do anything here. There's not a ton that can be named. Kozilek's Return isn't going to really be all that efficient. Scalpcam Berserker does literally nothing, and Silver Elemental does nothing, so you get your Braids.
Are you just cutting 2 chalices for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you could cut even more things to get rid of the chalices. I mean, you could bring in even more things that aren't that good just to get rid of the chalices because they're that bad.
All right. And then from Justin's side, I would expect to see Sorcerer Spyglass come in. The name's Chandra.
Yep.
Potentially Thorn of Amethyst?
Yeah.
So, like... Oh, sorry. From Alex's side, I think that 3 balls might be worse than chalices. Both sides want to get rid of these chalices, but I don't think both sides have the option to. Justin probably wants to get rid of his chalices, bring in these thorns, and he also might want to get rid of the 2 Umezawa's Jitty and bring in some number of Sorcerer Spyglass. Well, from Alex's side, I think he might want to get rid of the 3 balls and bring in his Braids.
Yeah.
These decks are not really prepared to play against each other.
They're prepared to play against everything else, though.
Alex looked like he's happy with his opening hand. Looks like a couple Soul Lands. I saw a Rabblemaster and a Chandra in the mix there, too. Justin, on his side, has a Ratchet Bomb in hand, along with, it looks like in the very back, a Spyglass. Plenty of Eldrazi Temples, just a full grip of them, it looks like. Ayabugan as well. Just going to lead on that one. 3 mana from Alex. Is this the Blood Moon? There it is. Just real quick, how many Dismembers are we on Justin's side? And Magic of the Moon here, 2 in a red, 2/2, non-basic lands or mountains. Blood Moon on a 2/2 creature. Very, very good. Not nearly as good as the actual Blood Moon, as it's easier to remove for opposing decks.
Yeah.
And Ratchet Bone here going to go ahead and attempt to check it.
It can check it eventually, but you know what's not fast enough against a Chandra.
So Alex plays his Chrome Mox and is offering Sulfur Elemental came in.
Yeah, that's a card I was actually considering just because it's a 3-mana flash creature.
Okay.
That's it.
Chandra here going to be played off of the Chrome Mox, 2 mana, and a Braid on the Ratchet Pum as well. So that's going to hit the Chrome Mox, but I don't think Alex is that worried about that.
Nope, not at all.
What you got, Justin? A Wasteland. I meant, sorry.
A mountain.
A Mountain.
And he has this card that requires colorless in his hand.
He at least has an Eldrazi Mimic, so he can play a 2-mana Mountain.
Yeah, man.
You can't attack with your Magus anymore.
Oh, no.
Chandra makes mana. Here comes Pia Kiran. Here's some Thopters to pair with it. I'm glad Alex has the real tokens.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I believe he actually just kind of prepared those because he knew he was going to be using them here.
I do appreciate that.
So
wanting to get the real tokens as much as possible on camera
yeah,
to make it
because
easy.
That way we don't... Like, as fun as Kanye West is...
He did go on his Kanye quest.
He did. But from this point, Alex does have full control. It's very unlikely that Justin's going to be able to cast the Allah's Dust, and next turn, Alex has the ability to just pop his Chandra ult.
No, but it's okay, because if Alex just doesn't draw anything...
Yeah.
Then the Chandra ult doesn't do anything, right?
Sure.
Rabble Master, 3 damage coming in from the tokens, and I don't think that doing nothing is a real... Ooh, Sorcerer Spyglass checks the Chandra.
Sure, man.
2 mana Spyglass. I think we're naming Chandra.
Yeah. So name Chandra, but then Alex can go ahead and untap, shoot down the Eldrazi Mimic, prevent any blocks, swing in for 3, 5, 7, 11.
It'll be for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
One
Thopter gets sacrificed.
I was counting the 2 Thopters, even though one's getting sacrificed. So yeah. All done.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. We definitely don't mind doing any extra explanation. We do this every week, roughly starting about 7:30 EST. So anytime you want to join us in, we'll be here. Alex gets game 2 in equally quick fashion. About 8 minutes have passed.
Yep.
I'm sorry, 7 minutes.
7 minutes have passed, which means we're averaging 3.5 minutes a game.
No, we're not. Shuffling. We're averaging like 2 minutes a game.
I wasn't counting in shuffling, but yes. So, I guess we're going to see another quick game then.
Like, you want us to say hi to Sam? Hi, Sam. I suppose we're saying hi to Sam now.
Luxac, thank you for getting there. Always appreciate more follows.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining us here for the night and future nights as well.
Yes. All right, so we're going to see another one of these games. Honestly, this matchup...
Which player is going to kill the other player first?
I hate this matchup. I hate these decks.
You don't like prison decks?
I could actually write an article on why I don't like the card Chalice of the Void. Why I don't think the card Chalice of the Void should exist, and it's not just me being salty. It's me thinking this card should not exist in Magic the Gathering.
Do you want to give us a taste?
Alright, so my biggest issue with this card is the minigame it creates, and the fact that this minigame is just accepted. But all that happens in this minigame, if you look at every other rule, should be considered as cheating.
Yep.
Because a lot of things that are encouraged is, I'm going to cast this 1-drop and hope that my opponent misses it. I'm going to create a situation where I cast this 1-drop quickly, my opponent's more likely to miss it. That is literally creating a situation where you're cheating, but because it's a Chalice of the Void interaction, it's okay.
Yep. It's kind of ridiculous that that's allowed, and here's another... Turn 1 Magus from Alex going to make it difficult for Justin to have something, but there is an Umazov's Jitty in his hand, so he has the ability to, over a couple turns, start using that and potentially kill the Magus. Overhearing from Alex that is an issue.
As it turns out, card's pretty good.
Alex not having any plays here. I think he might have an Abrade, though.
If he has an Abrade, that's pretty good.
I hope he does, or otherwise he just has a bunch of nothing going on. Or the mana, Magic of the Moon does kind of stunt Alex's own development.
Yeah, he's just choosing to throw it in front of there because the Mag is going to die regardless, so you might as well just go and get rid of this 2-mana 2/1.
So the Magic's dying regardless is kind of interesting to me, but I suppose wanting to just get rid of the creature Jitty's on, Justin doesn't have any other creatures.
Yeah, I value the creature more than the counters.
There's Hazoret, but as Alex overstated, Hazoret's not actually that good against Umezawa's Jitty.
Yeah, because with 4 counters, you can, in fact, kill the Indestructible God.
2 City of Traders going to be tapped here to cast a Thought-Knot Seer, potentially? Tapping it in this direction.
Yep.
Thought-Knot Seer. Mountains!
Okay.
Alright, the City of Traders probably going to be tapped to equip that Naughty Thoughty. And there is the equip. So if Thought-Knot Seer gets in combat in any way, Hazoret will die as a result of it.
Yeah, not an incredible amount Alex can do about it here.
Another mountain!
He picks up another mountain. This is looking real not great for Alex.
Not at all. He had a very good start, but... So this is one thing about Chrome Mox, is as well as a card that lets you have very explosive draws, it also gets rid of a card. Like that Fiery Confluence would actually be very, very good right now.
That Fiery Confluence would be backbreaking right now.
So here's a bunch of mana being tapped from Alex. We're going to throw a mountain at our opponent. This is before blockers. We'd like to throw a Simian Spirit Guide at our opponent now. Oh, we're going to use Simian Spirit Guide to throw a mountain at our opponent.
Okay.
So now here's a block. Thought-Knot, I believe, is... Okay, so Hazoret's going to get double shrunk, and then it's going to get shrunk again. The double shrink preemptively means that Hazoret will not deal enough damage to Thought-Knot Seer to kill it, and then the 2 shrinks afterwards mean that Hazoret will die as a result of combat.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes Matter Shaper and a Sorcerer Spyglass. Alex has no hand. We're going to name Chandra.
Yep. So at this point, does kind of show why Justin can pull this matchup out, because... Yeah, he's just choosing to do that main phase 2.
I mean, even if he did it main phase 1, I'm pretty sure Justin would block.
Yeah, no, he was just that way he didn't have to make the token.
And there's a Reality Smasher, and our match is done in 12 minutes!
Justin does have a bunch of efficient threats, and those do go a little bit of a way in this matchup because you're able to efficiently race what your opponent is doing and kill them in a pretty early turn.
Yep. So we see Eldrazi Stompy taking the match 2-1. Justin starting on just an explosive hand and then killing Alex, and then Alex doing the same to him, and Justin doing it back.
Yep. So, what's our final matchup tonight?
Our final matchup is going to be Eldrazi versus Elves.
Ah, yes.
So in Modern, Elves. This is a very skewed matchup. What about in Legacy?
So, Legacy, it is a matchup where Eldrazi Stompy is favored because they do have certain cards like Chalice and like All This Dust that are good, but it is a matchup that you are able to win from the Elf side, and if
you just have your explosive draws.
Yeah, and they don't also always exactly have the Chalice, because if they don't have the turn 1 Chalice, it becomes, a lot different.
Yes, definitely. So, all right, we're going to see this here, and the key card for the Elves here is getting ahead on the board, getting Heritage Druid going, getting a Craterhoof down. One
thing that is big to note is that there is one main board Reclamation Sage which can answer the Chalice of the Void, and post-board, getting the Progenitus in play off of the Natural Order is a plan which can be enacted by Connor.
Yep. And Progenitus, importantly, the Protection from Everything clause checks it against cards like Karakas.
Yep. Very good card to cheat into play, and it kind of gives you a backup plan in the form of just paying 4 mana to get a 10/10 that has protection from literally everything.
Is Progenitus the card that has the shuffle that isn't a trigger? Like it just goes in the deck? There's one that does just say it goes in the deck if it hits the graveyard.
I don't remember if it's him specifically.
Instead, yep, because it's a replacement.
Okay. My favorite thing about the Progenitus artwork, it's gone now, but I'm gonna explain it anyways, is that you have all the heads Progenitus, but you have one head, one neck. What's it doing? No, not that one.
What's wrong with that one?
No. So you have
what's wrong with multicolored Polukranos?
So you have all the heads facing forward, right? But you see that neck, right?
This one is just like way over there. He's getting a snack. He's like grabbing some grass.
So that neck is basically Alex as a neck.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then pull up Polukranos again. Yeah. Doesn't that look intimidating? The soul of the world. That's what that is, right?
Everything about it makes me upset, specifically like it in combination with the border and the fact that the scan has the line.
Has the from the vault foiling?
Yes. Thank you. All right, get that out of here.
Get him out of here. Green Sun for 0. All right. So Green Sun Zenith's going to go ahead and find a Dryad Arbor here, get shuffled back in the deck. I want to see him shuffle 3 times. Shuffle from fetch land, shuffle for the Green Sun, and then shuffle Green Sun in.
No.
Negative points in your Commander League.
Things to do at competitive REL events, but even there, like, no one's gonna be that much of a stickler.
Why
Like-
does it say shuffle on it twice?
If like if an opponent calls you out for that, like, I'm pretty sure the judge will just be like, I don't see the issue here.
Shut up, idiot. Alright, so Connor here is going to go for a value glimpse, it looks like. There's not a lot of things that he can really do off of this unless he has, say, a Quirion Ranger. Alright, we have a Quirion Ranger.
Okay.
So, picks up a Crater Hoof off of the glimpse. Force picked up. Dryad Arbor going to get untapped. That makes another mana. We get to cast a Wirewood Symbiote. Okay. Going off. Symbiote can now pick up Quirion Ranger. I'm surprised he's playing his land here. But here's the Nettle Sentinel. Okay, so now you're probably using your Symbiote to just draw another card off the Quirion Ranger. Because Symbiote does say target creature also, right?
Yeah. So Symbiote, you return the Quirion, you untap the Dryad, you make a mana, you play the Quirion, then you can untap the Dryad again with the Quirion. And
this dance is really fun.
Yep.
And you get another Dryad Arbor out of this because he picked up a lot of non-creatures. I think you should definitely do this if you have it.
Yeah.
Natural Order, Crater Hoof Behemoth, and a bunch of lands along with a Green Sun Zenith. He's just going to go ahead and pass, which is also fine.
Yeah, that's fine here. Next turn, he can cast the thing if he wants to.
Justin here, for his draw for turn, picked up a Chalice. We're a little late to the party.
Chalice, kind of gone past the point of it being relevant.
Yep, and Justin definitely has access to enough mana to be able to cast a Natural Order here, but does Justin, importantly, have a Warping Whale? Is that in his list?
Warping Well, I know it's in his sideboard. It may not be in his main board.
Justin's main deck here, it does not look like there were main deck Warping Whales.
Yeah, they're only in his sideboard.
He's on the Dismembers, which is the card that usually gets... No, he's not on the Dismembers either. Huh. Interesting.
No, he's on 2 Dismember.
Oh, are they on there?
Yeah, they're
It's
at the
kind
top.
of hard to see. Natural Order, Crater Hoof Behemoth. All my creatures are massive massives. A total of 16 power getting added to the board.
You're going to pay 4 life to kill one of my 5/5.
Well, so in response to the trigger, Dismember here actually does remove a lot of damage because you can kill the Crater Hoof Behemoth with the trigger on the stack. Which makes it to where it's only +9/+9.
Yep.
So he's going to take 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so he'll go to 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will make it to where he goes to 2. 2 and 1 aren't really different.
Yeah, I don't think that blocking here matters a lot, but
That's not math. He was taking 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and he kept 1. Yeah, he should be at 2, not...
I'm gonna let you do it.
Well, we're talking about trample damage, and he's legally allowed to assign 2 damage to this Eldrazi Mimic if he'd like to.
Sure.
But alright. Another Green Sun Zenith is going to get taken away from Justin here.
From Connor.
Oh, so sorry, from Connor. And both players confused as to the lines that Connor has made. Connor wondering why he sacrifices Dryad Arbor. I think the Quirion or the Wirewood Symbiote was probably the best creature to sacrifice there.
Yeah. Nettle Sentinel.
Nettle Sentinel should also be tapped, but it's probably going to untap very quickly here.
Yeah.
Wirewood Symbiote should be in the graveyard.
Why?
There's a Chalice.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at the other one, and I was like, why is... I thought that you meant like it died in combat.
So Chalice of the Void has been in 4 matches today. 3 matches.
Has it
Been
triggered?
No, not a single time. Every Chalice trigger has been missed.
Hey, that Chalice trigger is probably delayed.
Justin's very disappointed. Just a small, damn it.
Why am I like this? Why did I miss my Chalice trigger? Why does everyone miss their Chalice trigger?
I think it's a requirement if you play Eldrazi's that you just have to be bad at Chalice of the Void.
I know like a couple of people that are good at Chalice of the Void. Harley, who was in here with
Yep.
the other deck,
He usually plays Eldrazi.
he actually knows how Chalice triggers work.
End of turn, Connor here just going to go ahead and fetch for a Dryad Arbor here. Was there a Chalice that I missed? Was there like an actual spell that got countered off a Chalice today?
It probably was. Oh, no.
Oh, sorry. We're talking about Eldrazi players that know how a Chalice works.
No, I've tested your Chalice. I know.
All right. So Connor here just going to right-click attack with all. Justin here going to be forced to make some blocks. And Justin will be dead if trample damage resolved correctly.
Yep. Also, that Nettle Sentinel shouldn't be dead.
Why?
He could return it, but it would get countered.
Oh, yeah. That's right, Shaman is going to get found here. There is a Dismember in the graveyard, so Justin is dead on board.
Oh,
All
man.
right. That was a joke. That game was a joke.
Yes.
And so we're going to be moving on to sideboard. Would you like to take the Elves or the Stompy side? Elves?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So from Justin's side, I would expect to see 2 Ratchet Bombs come in. And the 2 Warping Whales. I would expect there to not be any copies of... So the sideboarding is kind of awkward. Endbringer's probably not that good, but if it gets online, it starts machine gunning cards down. So it is actually pretty okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, from Justin's side, a lot of his cards are very good. I actually think that the Endless ones are probably the worst card in his deck.
Yeah.
So I would expect to see 4 Endless ones come out, 2 Ratchet Bomb, 2 Warping Whales come in. Nathaniel.
So, in this matchup, from the Elf side, the thing you do have to worry about most is their Chalice effects. So, a card like Abrupt Decay, gonna be something you want to go and bring in.
3 Abrupt Decays.
3 Abrupt Decays. Beyond that, there are a couple other cards you could consider bringing in. You could consider bringing in Cabal Therapies. I don't like it, but that's something that he might consider. I like bringing in the Progenitus as a target for your natural order. What?
Justin, Connor's throwing Queer Ranger down.
So, I'm not... Honestly, if we're going to cut 1-drop Elf, I like cutting Deathrite in this matchup.
I agree.
You're running how many fetch lands? 7 fetch lands?
You're on 7 fetch lands in your opponent's City of Traders, which he plays
City of
2.
Traders. And and your opponent also doesn't play that many instant sorceries. You don't play that many instant sorceries. You're not trying to play the gain lifeline. That feels like the most medium 1-drop in your deck.
Looks like he's taking out Birchler Rangers and some Queer Rangers.
I'm not the biggest fan, especially because Birchler Rangers allows
Is that a Heritage Druid? Are we just putting random cards in a pile?
So, Birchlore Ranger, which is what matters a lot about Birchlore, is that it can cast Abrupt Decay, will help cast it.
Harley is disagreeing with you on the Deathrite Shellwinder.
Well, no, I wasn't necessarily saying it's what you cut. I'm saying I like cutting it more than another elf.
Yeah.
Another 1-drop elf. Just because, like, out of the 1-drop elves, I like the other effects more.
All right. It looks like Hunter's just taking like a random smather in of cards and just put them in a pile.
Yeah.
At least there's not 8 piles.
That's fair.
We're not sideboarding with 8 piles.
That's fair. No, I'm definitely out of date on what you sideboard out here, but I always know that the Abrupt Decays are the things you want in.
Mm-hmm. Ways to deal with Chalice.
Yeah.
More Quirion Rangers. We don't want any of those. I'm not really sure either what to side out. I think the Eldrazi side was pretty easy for this type of matchup. But
yeah,
your big creature that doesn't have any effect other than it grows your Eldrazi Mimic isn't exactly what you want.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Now, Harley, in your opinion, what do you cut? What do you cut here? I want to hear like your thoughts.
You're gonna hear it. It's gonna come through the speakers that we have.
I wish he could. I would
Probably
like to
calls
actually.
you.
I would actually like to hear the input of someone who has more recently played the deck than I have, because I haven't played the deck in a couple years.
All right, so we have Green Sun Zenith, Gaia's Cradle, Progenitus, Nettle Sentinel, and other lands in the opener.
He's looking at it.
So it's effectively a mold of 6, with Progenitus is effectively uncastable. Another Green Sun Zenith to pick up. Justin here is going to start with Eye of Ugin plus a Eldrazi Mimic. And Connor's going to go ahead and find himself a Dryad Arbor.
Yep, simple enough.
Justin's side, he picks up a Warping Whale, another one also in the grip. Warping Whale just going to go ahead and take care of that Arbor, and Eldrazi Mimic going to put each player down to 18.
So I think that not liking the Progenitus is entirely reasonable.
I can understand the reasoning behind Progenitus, but I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you think it's going to create Yeah, I also agree with. I don't like the play that happened there, but
So you're not a fan of the Warping Whale?
not
and
a fan of
Thread
the
Rubber?
not a fan of the warping well and that. But
What would you rather be doing with a Warping Whale?
um, I'm not.
Progenitus
No.
is asking to be hit by all stuff.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what it
asking
means.
to be hit by all those stuff. Yeah, like Progenitus is just kind of very medium. I mention it just because I like it as a card, but yeah, it's definitely not the best thing.
Thought here going to come down. He sees Green Sun Zenith, Abrupt Decay, Gaia's Cradle, and a Progenitus. Notably, the only castable of those cards is that Green Sun Zenith. Another Warping Whale going to get rid of the Heritage Druid, and 4 damage going to come in, dropping Connor down to 14. We pick up a copy of Wirewood Symbiote.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep, so here comes another Wirewood Symbiote, and Justin here picks up another card. Does he have another Warping Whale, or is that a Smasher? It's a Smasher, alright. So Smasher going to come in for 14 total damage here, and I hope we pick this Nettle Sentinel up. Yep. Alright, so takes 9, falls down to 5.
And he's facing down a fair amount of pressure here.
What's he need? Green Sun Zenith. Is that what he needs?
Not really, no.
Elf guy. What are we thinking about here?
He's thinking about, do I want a Green Sun Zenith on 2?
It's pretty good, right?
Am I going to go for the Visionary value plan with my Wildwood?
Against the Smasher while you're at 5?
Yeah. He's
I mean, you
thinking
could
about it.
survive. You have the ability to survive.
You have to, but he's thinking about it, though. Like,
Don't say. That guy can't cram.
God, I'm too tired for this.
I mean, you do get to survive, so an Elvish Visionary off the Green Sun Zenith is your play.
Yeah. It's kind of laughably bad right now.
Absolutely.
Like, you're at a point where it's just hard to fathom a way that you win.
It's pretty hard here. All right. Green Sun Zenith for 2. Justin is A-okay with that. Scavenging Ooze, huh?
Okay, so he's going to try to grow the Scavenging Ooze, be big enough to,
There were no creatures in the graveyard.
after his blocks.
He has to block all the creatures.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he doesn't have to block the Mimic or the Thought Knot at the current moment.
Like, he doesn't have to, no, but I don't know. Scavenging Ooze, it's defensible, but the thing is there's going to be at max 3 creatures in the graveyard after this combat.
Oh no, he does have to block everything because Reality Smasher has trample. So yeah, one of your creatures is go in front of Smasher, and the rest of them your other creatures have to go somewhere else too.
Yeah. So yeah,
We're still here for some reason.
correct. The Elvish Visionary definitely should have been grabbed just because you will have at least drawn a card or something.
Yep. All right, Connor's just going to concede. Figured out that there really is no more lines.
Okay.
And we're going to be moving into Game 3 with Connor on the play. And that's kind of what I expect from Eldrazi in this matchup, is like put a decent amount of pressure in play and have some interaction via the cards like Warping Well.
Yeah. And from the Elf side, you're just hoping to try to cobble together your game plan. And I feel like Connor's hand was just kind of really awkward again that time around. Because, like, Justin didn't actually interact with him a great amount. He did exile 2 of his creatures, which mattered a lot, but I don't even think that his game plan would have been that great if those creatures stayed in play.
One thing about Elves is, as a deck, it requires a set amount of moving pieces to be able to actually win games. You have cards that matter in most games, and you have the other cards that those bridge you to. You need both of them.
Yeah. You need to be able to actually have the things, like, you don't need very specific things, you just need certain things, like, you need random things.
Mm-hmm.
And without those random things, sure, you have this 1/1, you have this other 1/1, they all do these things. Your opponent has a 5/5 trample haste.
You're like, man, I have so many 1/1s.
And you're like, I can't block with my 1/1.
1 mana 1/1 deck, not good enough.
So, going to go and get to a game 3 here with Elves on the play. I think that Elves has a decent enough chance here of taking it on the play.
Yeah,
but
being on the play definitely gives him a lot more of an advantage here. Wirewood Symbiote, Heritage Druid, a couple lands in the opening hand here. It looks like a Birchwell Rangers as well. Just that hand that has the moving pieces, but nothing to do with them.
Yeah. So, kind of going and take a mulligan, and it looks like Justin is
Here's a
happy
Chalice.
enough with his hand.
Chalice, Simian Spirit Guide, a couple 2-mana lands. Looks like there might be an Eldrazi Mimic in the back of it there.
So his hand seems fairly strong.
Yep. This seems like the type of hand that can probably bully Connor. Connor's opening hand here, Glimpse of Nature, Dryad Arbor, Land, Deathrite Shaman. Not a lot of action, hoping that the Glimpse finds enough. It looks like a Heritage Root in the very back of the hand as well. Connor here thinking about which land does lead on. He's going to lead on the Dryad Arbor. Looks like an endless... No, a Warping Wail to pick up for Justin.
And Justin... Okay, he's just going to try
Chalice.
for one.
Connor shrugged his shoulders. Not much that he can do. Another 1-drop, eh?
Yep. So he's looking
One,
at
yeah.
1-drops and lands.
Ha! Hiya!
And hoping to pick up an Abrupt Decay from his side, or Green Sun Zenith, or Rex Sage. One of those cards to answer this chalice, so that way he can start casting the spells in his hand.
Cabinet Soul is going to, oddly enough, name Eldrazi, and Justin here's looking between a Warping Wail, an Eldrazi Mimic, and a couple other lands. 2 mana. We're just going to go ahead and play down a Mimic here. And he does have the Simian Spirit Guide, so he can Warping Wail as well if he would like to.
Yeah, he's holding up the Warping Well as a counter spell at this point, and he can also use a removal spell if he so does desire. He's choosing to go ahead and trade off his Eldrazi Mimic.
I like the block there.
I think that's fine.
Connor picked up a Green Sun Zenith, which is kind of an interesting play to me to see him attack when he picks up a Green Sun Zenith. Justin here looks like he picked up an Endless one, or that might be another Warping Wail. They have mildly similar...
So,
no, that is a Whale.
I feel like what happened there from the counter side is that he did not think his opponent would make the block.
Okay.
And he
Ooh, the
tried...
Progenitus!
Whew. One other big thing about Progenitus is situations like this where in Cradle of Behemoth you can cast it.
You cannot cast that one?
You cannot.
Birchlore Rangers.
You
A bunch of Deathrite Shaman
you can-
activations.
You cannot cast it with a reasonable amount of resources.
If you're glimpsing and you've drawn like your whole deck, then you can cast it off Birchlore Rangers.
If you glimpsed hard enough to have 2 of every color floating
With your with all your Nettle Sentinels
with all of everything,
and your Birchlore Rangers.
how is the game not over?
But you can put 10-10 into play.
Well, you could Cradle of Behemoth.
And then it terminus you.
Sure, man. All right, so what's happening? What's going on?
Smasher
Restless
coming
Smasher.
in, gonna cram
Hey, that's 10 damage.
Connor down to 6 here. Dead on board. Connor really gonna show off what Elves does today. 1-drop, 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 1-drop. All right. Connor yelling at us as to why we gave him the matchup. And,
I mean, to be fair, it's hard to not play against a bad matchup for Elves tonight. Tonight's not a good night for that because the deck with Terminus in it, as it turns out, is also good.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, one more is fine.
What do we want to see?
Allurin.
We can see some of the off-brand decks. Like, we can see some of the other decks. We just won't have the lists.
Allurin versus Bad Storm.
Why is it bad? Oh, because Night's
Night's
Whisper.
Whisper.
Allurin versus Delver, because Alex has Grixis on him.
All right, so we get Josh and Allurin.
Does it, Josh? What does the card Allurin do? Give me the Oracle text on the card Allurin.
All right, Corey, Allurin is together, correct?
Ooh, we have a player in a group asking us where do we get our cards?
Well, each of us actually individually own a fair amount of cards. We share a pool of cards for this. So that way, if someone's like, I want to play this deck, usually if someone just goes, I need this card, then we can usually get it for them. So it's just a lot of players who have been in the game for a long time and or really heavily invested. That being said, I do want to take a moment and say that it says match 6 of 6. We're actually on a 7th match.
Yep.
I think we're going to have Grixis Delver versus Allurin.
Is that what we're doing? If we have all of it together, I think that would be the most interesting.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, let's have that.
I will be right back. Andrew, if you want to.
All right. So we're going to get some decks that we don't have any list ready for or really anything. But we have the decks put together. We're just going to show some more Legacy. We're pretty early in our night for us. We usually run a little bit longer than this. So we wanted to go ahead and get one more match going on. So we're going to have Alex more than likely playing Grixis Delver against Allurin. No, wait, Nathaniel. So we're going to have Connor playing Allurin, and we're going to have Alex on Grixis? All right.
For the record, he's never played Allurin.
Great.
Allurin, I'm gonna take a second to go and describe this while everyone's getting everything together.
It's a weird.
I believe Corey's gonna have to grab the deck for him. So Allurin is a 4-mana green enchantment that allows either player to cast any creature that costs 3 or less mana for free at instant speed.
Yep.
So the combo with this deck is you put that in play, you play a 3-mana 2/2 artifact creature that says when it's battlefield, if you control a black permanent, I should say, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. And then you play a card that's 2-mana 2/1 that when enters the battlefield, you return another blue or black creature you control to your hand, and it has pay 1 life, return it to your hand. This allows you to pay the thing that makes your opponent lose 2 life, pay the thing that pick it up, play the thing, yada yada, you loop through it like that.
Do this. And I did want to go ahead and finish on the question that Go Titan said. Well, we did explain that we get our cards a lot from each other.
Yeah.
Some of us do specifically buy from certain stores. I think like Alex does a lot of online trading.
So, alright, so Alex shops a lot through different vendors in Europe, specifically because he is the type of person who enjoys playing non-English cards. Another place that he regularly shops from is Star City. They have a pretty decent selection of non-English cards.
I do personally generally shop for Star City. While you are paying a slightly higher dollar than you would for a lot of other places, you can pretty much guarantee that the cards are more than likely going to be the condition that they tell you they are, along with, for the most part, pretty good customer service.
Yeah, most of us shop through Star City games, aside from occasional specialty things, and or from, trading.
When they just don't have
groups.
the commons I want.
Yeah, that's fair. They do run out of commons a lot. Most places run out of commons because it's just like Pauper's popular.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna have Grixis Delver versus Allurin here. So who's favored in this matchup normally?
Alright, so this matchup, I'm just going to go and throw this out here. This matchup is very weird. Allurin as a deck is very weird. I like Allurin a little bit more in this matchup. It's a deck that can play a really grindy game plan and then just win out of nowhere.
Yep.
And it doesn't even need the combo to win, which is convenient in this type of matchup.
So Allurin gets to enact the Shardless Bug game plan until its combo turn.
Now, and other things that are important in this matchup, it's running a high density of basic lands, which means you can play one wasteland pretty well.
Yep.
You have a lot of efficient threats, and you can play through a lot of the Daze Force of Will. Like, you're pretty good against those effects from Alex's side. Alex can do the Grixis Delver thing, though, and if he just is able to stick an early threat and ride that tempo out, he can still ride you into the ground. And that's what Alex is going to be trying to do, is get the early tempo and keep it from Connor, because if the game starts kind of getting to a stalemate, Connor's going to win that game.
Yep. All right, so we're going to be moving here into game one. Both players shuffled up, ready to go. Connor's going to have to read a lot of his cards.
Yep. This deck is a deck that a lot of the people in the group that test Legacy a lot are really familiar with, just because Corey, our man who handles the technology side of the stream, played this deck a lot, and we all learned how to play with and against this deck.
Yep. So Connor's opening hand here looks like Tropical Island, Swamp, Forest, Baleful Strix, Allurin, Force of Will, and a card in the back that I can't get a good look at. From Alex's side, looks like a Wasteland in the mix, a couple fetch lands, Brainstorm, Force of Will. Pretty good hand for both players.
Yep.
Gitaxian Probe going to get a great look at it, and that's why the last card I wasn't very well able to make out, because it's the Cavern Harpy.
Yep. This hand from Connor is actually pretty good. He is able to play a turn 2 1/1 Death Touch that draws him a card. He has enough basics to safely play around Wasteland, and he has 2/3 of his combo in his hand.
Looks like Lightning Bolt, Force of Will, Brainstorm, Wasteland, and another land in the hand from...
Connor led on Force, immediately took it back, played the Swamp. This is so he can cast the turn 2 Baleful Strix.
Yep. Connor, after he has looked through his deck, is now currently asking Alex what spells he plays.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, this deck has a lot going on.
It does.
It's certainly one of those decks that, if you've never played it, boy, it's a wild ride.
Connor just said he doesn't even know if he's ever played against it.
I've only known of 2 people that played this deck extensively within our local area.
Yep. So Brainstorm going to get cast here from Alex with a fetch land up. Finds Scalding Tarn, Polluted Delta, and Trop.
So at minimum, that Trop's going to get shuffled away.
It might not have been a Trop. It might have been a different card. It was hard to get a good look at it. but I think 2 lands are going.
I believe that he has a high density of land, so at the very minimum, 2 lands are getting shuffled away. He did not find a Dalbro secret.
He has not
here.
found any threat.
So he's just kind of not really doing anything.
2 mana, here's a Baleful Strix. Alex is going to go ahead and Lightning Bolt it with the ability on the stack. Connor is probably A-okay with that, which he is. Connor draws from his Baleful Strix, and I think we're just going to be passing back to the opponent.
Yep. So Alex was choosing to snap that off because that card is a problem for cards like Dalbro Secrets and Gurmag Angler to get through. So you want to go and remove it. The Lightning Bolt can be good against this deck, but against the combo, if Connor plays it correctly, 1 Lightning Bolt is not enough.
No, not at all. And it's kind of weird. It's the way that the combo like actually enacts is very, very strange to actually understand. So the way is you play the bounce creature, and with its bounce trigger on the stack, then you play the Harpy.
I would like to say that we have apparently Tyler Gardner in the chat. Great to have you here. A man who's played more of this deck than anyone else locally.
And there's Corey responding with the hearts. Is that his own emote? This Glintnest Crane?
Yes. His big thing is Bird Dad, is what he would call Glintnest Crane.
All right. We appreciate the Birds fan.
Hi.
I'm sure that if he's here, it's because Corey probably went and told him we're putting Aluren on camera.
That's fair. He probably was like, yeah, I'd like to see someone not know how to play this deck.
Baleful Strix getting played here from Connor again. Leftovers in the hand, Forest, Aluren, Cavern Harpy, and a Force of Will. Gurmag Angler going to be the play from Alex, and I can't imagine Connor cares.
Yep. It cleanly gets checked by this 1/1 Death Touch that's in play. And Alex, it looks like, has no other removal spells, so it's going to be a bit of an issue for him.
Connor here, multiple Force of Wills in his hand at the moment. Going to go ahead and play a Bayou here, so leave himself open to another Wasteland here if Alex does have it, and he does. So Wasteland going to go ahead and check the Bayou. Bayou taps for mana, which doesn't matter, but Moto is asking Connor if he would like to let his mana pool empty. Oh, Harley got him. We appreciate you joining.
Yep, Harley was probably like, you should check this out, and I appreciate Harley going out of his way to do that.
Ponder finds Tropical Island, Lightning Bolt, and Daze. Daze potentially good enough here as it's going to make the Aluren hard to cast. Connor currently does have 2 Force of Wills. Question is, does Alex have multiple blue cards? He does, through a True Name Nemesis. So the question is Alex going to resolve the True Name in the way that he's fetching at this moment? It looks like we are.
Yeah. So True Name, if it resolves, very good.
But I believe Connor's going to be able to resolve an Aluren. Because there's now land forceable Daze in the opposing hand.
Yep. He's definitely going to be able to resolve the Aluren, which is quite possibly going to be an issue. I don't know if he has the third piece of the combo, but this is 70-30 matchup in Aluren's favor. Only way you lose is mana issues if birds aren't careful. Okay.
Tyler feeling pretty confident about the Aluren side from this. And I can understand it.
Yeah, it certainly does feel like a matchup where Alex is going to have a hard time.
I really do hope Connor is going to go for his combo. Ooh, he just has both the combo pieces in his hand, too. Yep. Aluren. Alex is going to Forcible. I will force back. Aluren is in play. Connor, do your thing.
Okay.
I just drew him.
So
just drew my cards.
There we go. Got an easy enough game from Aluren there. There was a bit of a weird thing where both players did nothing for a little bit, though Connor was able to actually gain some value while doing it. And
Tyler actually getting there. Thank you for the follow. We appreciate you joining us.
Do appreciate the follow there, Tyler. What?
It's really cocky.
What?
We'd also appreciate the host. See? Really cocky.
Yeah.
All right. Connor here moving to sideboard. Not really sure what the 2 deck sideboards are at the moment. So we're going to... let's see if we can take a look. Carpet Flowers. Those probably coming in. Yay, nay?
He's bringing it in. So I don't believe that we have the Aluren list handy.
Dread Knights. Golgari Charm. Toxic Deluge. That one's probably good enough. Tormod Script, probably not good enough. Uma's Dolls Jitty, not good enough. Abrupt Decay, meh. Is that Meekstone?
Yeah.
Alright.
So I do want to actually take a moment and say, last little thing, Tyler, also do appreciate you adding us to your auto host.
Yes, absolutely.
That's really
be
nice
sweet.
of you. So we don't have counter sideboard, but doesn't matter a ton.
I mean, from Alex's, we can also probably just pull up last week's.
Yeah, we can definitely pull up last week's deck list. We might not be able to do it before they start the next game, but
That's fine. But I think we saw what Connor brought in.
so that's fine. Like, we're fine kind of being in the blind here. A lot of times in other events, the commentators are blind as to what the sideboard is. No, they're not.
No, they're not. They have like actual deck lists,
I mean,
like pieces of paper in front of them.
we don't-
Go tell them how to sideboard.
Oh my god. Corey's just like, I don't know what you cut. You just cut everything.
Take out the Allurans.
Yeah. No, you don't take out the Lawrence.
Take out the Deathrite Shaman.
I'm not familiar enough with the exact list that Corey is currently on to confidently say what does get cut here.
Tyler here
Force-
is saying plus the Meekstone, plus the Carpets, plus the Toxic Deluge, and plus the Jit, and out the Force of Wills. That's
I
insane.
forgot this deck plays Force of Will. Thank you, Tyler, for making me look like an idiot. Force of Will card you always that is a lot of times find in the Grixis Delver matchup because you don't want to be 2-for-1ing yourself.
Nope.
And the cards you list that
Is
from the
there a
side.
Deathrite Shaman in that pile?
I will. I'd be upset if there was a
I
Death
was
Shaman.
almost certain there was a Shaman in that pile.
I'm going to assume that there's not. But yeah, thanks for the little add-in of what the sideboarding should be, and just hit a little bit of late, so I just kind of completely forgot that Force Will was a bad card.
All right, so Grix is going to be on the play here. Do you think the play draw is something that does matter a lot? in this match?
It matters a lot. It matters for Grixis Delver if they do want to try to pull out. It's not a great matchup for them, but a lot of times the way Grixis Delver are able to win these matchups that they're not that favored in is by just keeping up early tempo.
Actually being stated that -1 Deathrite Shaman might actually be okay.
Okay, that's reasonable. So, all right, Alex can go and start on hopefully for him a
threat?
Delver of Secrets.
A creature. A card that attacks.
He needs to have either a turn 1 Delver of Secrets or turn 2 Young Pyromancer if he wants to actually enact the game plan I've been talking about, which is
Winning.
well, winning, but just to keep the tempo up. And
Well, Volcanic Island doesn't cast Deathrite Shaman, so we're just going to go ahead and lead on a Ponder here. Ponder sees a Polluted Delta, a Delver of Secrets, and a Daze.
What? Did he? Okay, no, he's redoing the order.
You thought he put the Delta on top?
At first, he put the Delver of Secrets at the very bottom.
He also has a Gitaxian Probe in his hand, but he's just going to go ahead and pick up the Delta and pass to the opponent, and I think the Daze is the card under it.
Yeah.
But there's a Pyromancer in hand. That is why we're doing it in this order.
Okay. At the very minimum, he does, in fact, have at least a Deathrite Shaman to play. I'm going to assume that we just saw wrong, and that's not a Deathrite that was being sideboarded out.
So Deathrite Shaman going to be the first card from Connor's side off of a Polluted Delta. Alex here going to go ahead and grab a Underground Sea off of his Polluted Delta. I think getting rid of that Deathrite Shaman. I mean the Delver. So he's just hinging on the Young Pyromancer as being good enough. And I think Connor might have brought in his Golgari Charm.
If he did, that's going to be really strong against the Young Pyromancer plan.
Assuming we can find it.
Yep.
So we see the probe, so we're going to get a good look at the opposing hand.
All right, so
We're going to see a Leovold, Abrupt Decay, Abrupt Decay, Abrupt Decay, Golgari Charms. As we see Alex going, well, that's awkward.
Still there.
Alex casting
Okay.
another Get Probe. I think he has a third one. Falling
so
down to
Alex
12.
casting 3 probes, getting 3 1/1s, and hoping to God that he has a way of stopping
So,
this Golgari Charm.
amusingly enough here, so say Connor does find a land, which he does. So Golgari Charm's going to get cast here, probably giving everything -1/-1. Alex has a Cabal Therapy in hand.
Hey!
There's 3 Abrupt Decays.
Oh my God.
All right, so Cascade into a library.
Library gets met with a daze.
Library's going to get dazed.
So now Alex is going to get a 4-for-1.
Yep. Oh, this is great. This is great. Yes! Yep. So Connor has exactly Leovold in hand.
And he's facing down a lot of tokens.
Yep. Bolt Deathray Shaman, make it so you probably can't cast that Leovold. I think Alex got this one.
So, I agree that was very greedy. And he got pretty punished. The Leovold might be able to do some work here. Alex doesn't have a lot of super favorable attacks because his opponent's creatures all have more than one toughness.
Mm-hmm.
So unless he finds a way to answer this Leovold, things actually can get tricky for him.
Brainstorm from Alex getting a 7th elemental. I mean, Alex might just be building to the, like, have enough elementals to kill my opponent. What's the problem?
Whose turn is he brainstorming on?
Oh!
Alright.
So, yep. Leovold stops Brainstorm, and this is how Alex potentially loses. Does these get shuffled? The card that he wasn't supposed to draw? I believe they get shuffled.
Yeah, they're gonna shuffle it, and then he has to just put 2 cards back.
Yep, and then...
Sure.
Yep, gonna put those back. And... yeah, that's pretty awkward. Leovold does have an effect. I haven't played with a lot of Leovold, so me just completely blindsiding it. Fetch land here. Connor, what do we pick up? Strix?
Strix not bad here when your opponent's at
Alex is at
such a low
10.
life total. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to start being able to potentially attack, and I mean, it also checks the Delver.
It checks the Delver, and it gets Alex a lower life total, but at the same time, you are going to have a hard time attacking here. Provided the Delver flips.
What number is tonight's misplay counter at?
Broken.
It's broken. Corey, next week can we have a misplay counter? This for the whole night? Ooh, I'm excited.
A misplay counter would be great. So...
and it has to be like real misplays. It can't just be like what we think are misplays, but just like obvious on the board things that were missed.
Yep. So, Connor going out and throwing down an Aluren there. And
yep.
Alex just going out and scooping up, which means Connor gets a clean 2-0. That Brainstorm play was a little sloppy. 7 in the last 10 minutes. Yeah.
That seems low.
I don't... Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. We need that punt count.
The punt command. So I need a computer again, so we can specifically input the punt command.
All right. Well, either way, appreciate everyone coming in, watching our stream. Sorry if there were some sloppy things that happened, but
I think it's what makes this as fun as it is.
It makes it fun because we get to kind of it's about what you'd expect from a tournament. Honestly, like. I don't know if anyone watched the Lexi tournament, well, the Lexi section of the tournament this weekend, but Deathrite Shaman named Red is a thing that happened in the finals of a tournament, so...
All right. So, as Nathaniel said, thank you anyone for coming out and watching us. We do this every week.
Every week, starting roughly around 7:30. I believe we're starting to do exact 7:30 now. Sometimes there's...
Yep. We have like a timer set and everything, so we go up a little bit before... 7:30, but yeah. 7:30 is about when it starts, and we generally go until about 10:30 to 11:30, depending on how long the format takes. Modern will take a little bit longer than Legacy, and Standard will take longer than that on average.
And if I had to guess, I don't think we have anything set in stone right now, but the safest bet is for what we're doing next week would be Modern.
Yep.
That is our default format as right now. It's kind of undeniable that Modern is the most popular format, and it's not close. So, would appreciate everyone that came in this week to come in next week, go and watch us play some Magic, watch us yell at some dumb plays, and have a great time.
Yep, and anybody that tuned in late, we will be starting a replay of tonight. So if you want to see our matches that we had earlier in the night that you might have missed, that replay will be starting nearly immediately after the stream ends.
Yep.
And we do try to do this weekly to make it easier for players to be able to see anything that they might have missed.
Yep.
Especially because I have quite a few West Coast friends that check us out.
Well, anyways, thanks for everyone for coming out and getting there, and we'll see you next week.
Good night from the basement.